Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to week 5 of the Aegis Executioners League. I'm joined by my co host, Chong Selmo, and how are you doing this fine evening?
Man, I'm doing great, coming back in here after that week off for the 4th of July. Hope everybody had a good one of those. Hope everybody in Canada got to, not enjoy it because you guys don't have that day.
We got Canada Day that
Yeah, you
same
guys
week.
do have Canada Day, so hopefully you guys got to enjoy that as well, and everybody got a nice time for the week off. But now we are here back for some AEL action, getting ready for what is, I believe, the last week of the regular season, getting ready for some qualifier matches next week, and the other side of the bracket, getting ready for playoffs that start in 2 weeks. So big match here today, and especially between the two teams that we do have being two of our top brass teams we have here in AEL.
Yeah, it's going to be XG Gorilla versus Elysium Luna. And here we have the Elysium Luna roster 4-0 series score, 8-1 the map score. Top lane Storm, jungle Queen Sticks, mid lane Naysayer, bot lane Eli Chaser, support EXE, and Humor and Duddy Brains as the support. And I mean, 7-game difference. And I mean, that's massive. That just shows how dominating they've been this entire split.
Yeah, look, I've played against this team before, and these guys are good. Chaser and EXE down in the bot lane are that top brass bot lane in the league. They are a solid duo together, and then the rest of the team fills out very well around them. Queen Sticks has those AP picks in her champion pool that a lot of people don't expect, the Morganas, the Zyrus, stuff of this. And Naysayer, he is a solid mid laner with Storm up there being a solid top laner, able to hold their own against a lot of these other names in this league. This team is a reason they are 8-1 in games individually and haven't dropped a single series so far this season.
Yeah, and then if we can swap over to the next side, we have XG Gorilla 3-1 the map score, so they'd have dropped a series, and also 7-2 the map score or the game score overall. So I mean, this is still a really strong record here. And now we're gonna have Spoobert in the top lane, Coco Puff Sorna in the jungle, Unknown Lag in mid lane, Juice Box in the bot lane, and McFeeds in support, and a whole slew of subs with Water 7, Fortune, Nitroda X5, and Princess May.
Yeah, I mean, this is another great team. You guys got to cast them week one when I was not here, you and DBZ Freak, but these guys are just as good as their opponents. McFeeds has been a support around in the scene for a while. He is a good friend of mine. I like to tease him. Same with Coco Puffs or nah, but Coco Puffs, as being somebody who was out of competitive league for a while, has come back and looked really good. But Spoobert, a rock solid top laner, and then Unknown Lag and Juicebox, two names that I don't really know super well, but they have been showing up the season and popping off. They are two really good individual players. They have hands. They have a strong macro sense. So this is going to be a great matchup. And I think if any team can take a game off of Elysium this season, a series off of them, it's probably going to be this XG team.
Yeah, and I mean, just FYI, we are going to be in draft now, and if this looks a bit scuffed, don't blame us. Google is having issues on their end, and a lot of our production does center around using Google Sheets here, so bear with us. But at the very least, you can see the draft, you can see us, at least you can see me for now, but the draft's already coming through very quickly. The Silas, Gragas, and Jarvan going to be banned on the side of Elysium, and then more focus towards the bot lane, with the Mel Zyra and Saber being banned away by XG Gorilla. And we have Morgana getting first picked on Elysium Blue. And I mean, the Morgana, like Chong mentioned, could be going into the jungle. There's a lot of very niche picks there. Could be going to support. So we're just going to have to see where they do end up playing it. But the Trundle going to be the answer for XG Gorilla.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could have been here to give a little bit more insight, but it's about that time of night where my computer decides to randomly drop in its Wi-Fi signal, and I have to get back in this one. But this Morgana as the first pick, I assume this is going to be for Queen Sticks here in the jungle. I have seen her play this a lot before, so not surprised to see that is a pickup here for Elysium Luna with it being open. I'm also looking at the bans a little bit to go back on those. The Gragas ban, really good against Spoobert. J4, the highest played for Coco Puffs or nah. And then Zyra is a ban away from Queen Sticks in her own right. But then looking at the XG draft here, Smolder, I do like this pick. Super strong scaling champion, can be played either mid or AD. Trundle is a super strong jungler. We've been seeing him pop off all of MSI. People have been following that, so I'm not surprised to see this one. But then an immediate Zeri Galio pick. So looking to pick a hyperscaler for the side of Elysium Luna and then give it all the defense it needs in the world with that heroic entrance from Galio. Also, the Black Shield for Morgana being one of those safety options when this area does decide to fly in. But Udyr pickup for Spoober in the top lane. This is one of his champions, so I'm really excited to see him get his hands on this and see how he will perform on it.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone seeing the Galio getting locked in, all the FlyQuest fans just immediately shudder. We've seen what a good Galio can do, especially in a potential Game 5. Granted, this is just a best of 3. This is just a best of 1. This also definitely is not MSI. It is going to be Elysium Luna locking that in, but it is a lot of protection for the Zeri. Just like you said, the Black Shield, making sure you can't CC them. Galio just making sure you're going to be super safe over top. So much peel. But if they're able to jump on top of Zeri, or on the other side with Smolder just being able to get stacks as well, you may not even need to jump the Zeri. You can just go straight front to back. Just kind of 2 hyper carries trying to get to the late game, and it's really going to be a question of which one's going to be able to just do more in the end.
Yeah, and then just looking here on second phase bans, it looks like the side of XG Gorilla is banning away top laners that Spoober is not going to want to play against in this matchup as Udyr, so they're taking the Camille off of the table. Makes a lot of sense, especially when you have Smolder. He does have that escapability.
Oop, I think Chong is disconnected once again. But yeah, it is going to give a little bit of that escapability, and then we're going to see 2 support bans coming in as the final 2. It's going to be the Nautilus and the Alistair getting banned away by Gorilla and Elysium Luna. And those are 2 of the main engaged supports, but what I do think is pretty fun is that it shows that Gorilla have done their research, because they banned away the Alistair when the Morgana is being shown. That means they know that this Morgana is almost definitely going to be going into the jungle. They know that this is not going to be a support Morgana, so welcome back, Jog. How are you doing?
Don't worry, guys. It never happens 3 times in a row. I swear. I wish I could tell you why this happens. Apparently, my computer just does not like me playing Comp League of Legends, because this happens in scrims and tryouts and everything all the time. But, looking at what's drafted here, the Rel pickup for McFeeds, I really do like this pick. This is one of his better champions. The Nautilus ban away from it also makes a lot of sense. It's good into Zeri, and McFeeds is a good Nautilus player. But now we have a Rakan pickup here. I was thinking more Enchanter that we were going to see out of the side of Zeri, but I guess they want a better engage option. So the Rakan is where that comes from, with everything that he has in his pool, the heroic entrance on top of it once you do use that grand entrance into the quickness to get onto the back line. Galio coming over top of it. Even the Mbessa is a nice pickup here to do similar things for the Rakan. It gives you that single target CC and get on top of the Smolder ability with the Galio to follow that up. So it's going to be really on everything on the Smolder this game. It's going to be find that Smolder, pick him off, and be able to, so that the side of XG Gorilla does not have much to work with in their team comp. But they could be putting the Smolder mid, or it's going to be an 80 carry Smolder, and they're going to be picking the Aurora. This is another champion that we've been seeing pop up at MSI in those later games, the games 4, the games 5. But this champion, despite a lot of nerfs that have come her way, she is still really strong. She still does have that burst potential at level 3. If you hit that double Q with the passive proc and the electrocute, you do about like 75% of somebody's HP bar. So really do like that pickup, and into the Galio mid, it should fare pretty well. If the Galio does get on top of her, it can be a little bit difficult, but overall Aurora should have a pretty decent matchup in that one.
Yeah, now just looking at these 2 comps, it does seem like actually Gorilla have more lanes that they can kind of try and play through. Because, I mean, Trundle in the jungle is just going to be able to deal a lot of damage. If Trundle gets ahead, they could start winning through that. Udyr in the top lane, going to be a threat, at least in the early to mid game. Aurora, Smolder, obviously going to be 2 hard carries. But for Elysium Luna, I feel like it does pretty much have to be Zeri and Mbessa. Do you agree with that, or do you think they can kind of play through something else like the Morgana from the jungle?
So they will be focusing mostly around this Zeri and this Mbessa, but this Morgana is one of those power clearing junglers. She's going to have a better clear speed than Trundle, and then look to facilitate lanes. Even if ganks don't go extremely well, since she'll have such a high tempo over this Trundle and be able to scale slightly better than Trundle. I think Morgana can scale better than Trundle, even though Trundle does scale all right in his own way. But I think that if the Elysium Luna side plays their game plan and lets Queen sticks, scale up into this game and then be impactful at like 2 items, maybe 3 items, that Elysium Luna has a third option with their team comp. While the side of XG Gorilla, it's really on Aurora, it's on Smolder, and if Spoobert can get ahead on Undir, he can be a problem for the Elysium Luna comp, but that's a big if question. If he can get to that point, Undir in the top lane isn't as strong as it used to be, but it is one of Spoobert's champions, so I expect him to show up on this one.
Yeah, now the main question we always ask the color caster here, but between these two drafts, which one do you favor going into game number 1?
Man, that is such a tough question because it looks like both teams got exactly what they wanted in these drafts. It looks like they both came in with a game plan of what to get, and nothing really deterred them from switching off of that path. So, the side of Elysium Luna, they wanted this Morgana. They wanted to be able to facilitate it. While the side of XG Gorilla, they're like, we want this Smolder. Let's find a way to make a comp work around it. And both teams have drafted for it. But if I'm going to have to put my eggs in one basket here, I think I'm going to go... this is hard. I'm going to go with XG. I believe in Juicebox on the Smolder. I did watch back on week 1 when XG was last streamed, where he did get that pentakill on that Jinx game when they seemed behind and out of that game. So, I mean, this XG Gorilla team they're resilient. So I think they'll be able to make this draft work, and they'll be able to stop Elysium Luna and what they want to do in this game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I agree. I'd probably go for XG Gorilla as well. Just because I think that, especially the lane matchup on its own in the bot lane, I think Smolder does really well into Zeri. Zeri's so short range, it's a lot easier to get some stacks quicker. You're just kind of able to poke the Zeri out before she can get on top of you. And because of that, I think with the speed that they're going to be able to stack at, just being able to play front to back, because there's no huge true tank on the side of Elysium Luna. And that's just kind of a bruiser. Galio, yes, gets decently tanky, but doesn't have those raw HP, those armors that you see from the true tank. So Smolder, once those 225 stacks hit, I expect we'll be able to just absolutely shred through them.
Yeah, I mean, even if Galio goes with this tanky build that we see in the mid lane a lot of times, XG Gorilla, they have the Trundle on their side. They'll be able to just steal all those resistances. So when that Aftershock does fall off, if that's what he does run, we've seen it all the time with Sejuani. They go into negative resistances and they can't do anything anymore in a team fight. So it's going to be the side of Naysayer on Elysium Luna. He's going to have to kind of try to stay hidden from Cocoa Puffs or not on this Trundle when a team fight does break out, so he isn't immediately just a walking punching bag. And if he's running that Birdio skin, he does not want to be chicken food for the side of XG Gorilla. But this is going to be a good game. I'm excited for the series regardless.
Yeah, me too. And we're going to find out just who is going to be able to come out on top here. Now, we're going to go to a short break as we get that spectator delay built up. But once we come back, we're going straight into game 1, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. All right, and we are here with game number 1 between Elysium and XG Gorilla. Now, ignore the logos. That again is just kind of one of the issues we've been facing today with the Google Sheets, but it is definitely the right name at the very least. And they are going to start by moving in immediately. Naysayer. The ward's already down. I'm not sure if that was Naysayer's ward, but did check to see if they were going to be starting on those Raptors. But with the game starting off the way it is right now, is there anything that's really standing out to you, Chong?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that Juicebox is not playing today for XG Gorilla. It is actually Princess May subbing in at AD carry. Now, her and McFeeds have played in the past before, so they do know how to lane together. It's not like a random AD carry slot in, but we're actually getting invade on the blue buff here right now.
Yeah, they're going to be
Elysium's
setting.
collapsing.
Yeah, Naysayer just looking towards Cocoa Puffs, but right now both sides are just kind of hitting onto the blue buff, and who's going to be able to get it? And it is going to be going. I'm still not sure who got it. Oh, it is going to be on Naysayer. I guess Galio is the new jungler coming in for Elysium, but I mean, it's still going to be a good start. It is going to be still good for XG Gorilla, though, because Queen 6 is not going to be able to have that buff, not going to be able to have that experience. So just by virtue of that, the jungler is going to be pretty behind.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a crazy level 1 to actually come out there with an invade on a blue buff, but now it looks like Spoobert is looking to go all in
Yeah,
here.
level 2 is going to be their flash force out of Storm as well. And now Chaser getting a decent amount of poke done there as well, but luckily the Guardian's going to be coming out of the Rakan along with the shield, so won't take too much, but that's still a few stacks going over to Princess May.
Yeah, and the biggest issue with that play in the top lane here is with Storm having no flash, Spoobert took Ghost in this matchup, so he has that staking power. He has that potential to just chase Storm down whenever he sees the window to do so. But now, looking at the clears, it's going to be a difficult clear for Queen 6, like we were mentioning, because they did not get that blue buff. Morgana is kind of super reliant on a high mana pool for these clears for that Tormented Soil, while Cocoa Puffs are not hindered on their clear at all.
Yeah, EXE taking a decent amount of damage in this trade as well. And, this is kind of what I was talking about in the draft. The range advantage that Smolder has over Zeri just makes this lane so much easier to play on the Smolder matchup. But Queen 6 already looking like they may be going for a gank at the bot lane, but looking over at the minimap, it looks like it's just going to be going towards the crab instead. Or maybe a safety ward.
Yeah, I thought they were going to go a full wraparound, but now Spoobert in the top lane.
You got the flash, but Storm's the one that gets the first blood, just kind of spinning to winning over top A TP is still available, and that was fresh off of a TP from Storm. So just using that timer immediately to a huge advantage.
But
in the meanwhile, Queen Sticks coming in from the back line, looking towards McPhee's, but is going to hit off to the side. Shattering Strike hits on it too, so nothing ventured, nothing gained. Neither side really going to come out on top of that trade.
Yeah, I mean, it was very well played by McPhee's and May there to dodge out of it, kind of separate so neither of them are caught by the Dark Binding, not panicking, not using a flash, not using the E out of the Smolder here. And then a nice two-man stun by McPhee's. Didn't really mean much, but it was still there.
Yeah, definitely still looking for it. I mean, it always looks fancy. And whenever you get one of those fancy plays, you feel good about yourself. And then you can bring that kind of attitude, that kind of mental headspace later on into the game. But, I mean, looking at this already, 400 gold lead getting built up for Elysium. And now we can see the gold lead coming out here. And it looks like it is mostly in the top side. So the first blood going over to Storm did make a pretty significant difference there. As we're just going to be dying over to the turret. I don't know if Storm will be able to get the Queen Sticks, the Tormented Soil, just coming in at the perfect time. And you could not ask for an easier kill as a jungler.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Queen Sticks gets a Dark Harvest proc off of that as well. So kind of just free farming there on the enemy top laner. Going with the Bouse special with Spoobert there and did get punished for it. It was a nice rotation out of the side of Elysium to try to punish that one before he's able to fully clear that wave and take a recall. But with that, it looks like the side of XG are going to be starting to set up around this Dragon #1, trying to get that for themselves, knowing that the enemy jungle is up on the top side, knowing that the Smolder is safe in the bot lane, just going to be starting up Dragon #1.
Yeah, and it should just be going over to XG Gorilla. They're going to be in a much better spot with this. I mean, we've already been seeing Princess May's winning out pretty hard in the bot lane. And while it is a bit of a goldie going over to Elysium, all of that is just going to be in the top half of the map. So not going to be able to get too much value there. But that is going to be the Chemtech Drake going down. Elysium 1 kill away from their War Feet. But right now, with the first dragon already going, they could just try and even that out just through these neutral objectives.
Yeah, and then Cocoa Puff's just showing himself in the bottom lane to help May finish pushing out that wave and be able to take a recall once that minion wave does crash in. But overall, really nothing happening besides in the top lane with Spooba getting punished not once, but twice. Maybe not a thrice time this time around, though. But we got the grub spawning up in a couple of minutes. We're about 2 minutes away from the grub spawning. And with the dragon already being taken, that means XG has the opportunity to play for these grubs. There won't just be the swap of neutral objectives because of how early the dragon was taken. There could be an early fight around it, and Morgana is one of these junglers who is so good at taking these multi-camps, as good at taking grubs. So I would not be surprised to see a large fight around that one. But now with level 6 on both mid laners here, we see McPhee's hovering, but not really anything happening. But the one who could be in trouble is actually Spoobert. There is a lane swap coming out here for the side of Elysium Luna, not wanting to give over the grubs, wanting to have their bot lane up here for this fight, while May's going to have to be in the bot lane, going up against the Ambessa for the time being before those grubs spawn in the next minute.
Yeah, and it does seem like it's not going to get answered completely. It's going to be Princess May versus Storm in the bot lane, and with Storm being pretty strong right now with that kill, Princess May could be in trouble. Public execution is available, so Princess May needs to play a little bit safe, but with the wave shoved in, should be okay, at least for a little while. At the very least, has a range advantage. But now this is what I was worried about. Princess May gonna get jumped on, and public execution might not even be needed. It's gonna come through, matches the flash, and that's gonna be the solo kill in the bot lane. And that's why you don't match the AD carry with the top laner.
Yeah, I mean, it was also a little bit of disrespect there out of Princess May. Wanting Storm to hold a freeze there, was just walking up to try to pressure them, and Storm immediately saw that window and went all in. You just got to let that wave be frozen there. It feels bad, but it's what you got to do. You have no backup from anybody on your team, and still, May going back down to the bottom lane to still answer this Ambessa. Ambessa's 2-0 now after that first blood, getting that second kill here on Smolder. Is behind in CS, but it doesn't matter when you're up in kills, and now we can see that the grub is spread up and now Storm in trouble. Yeah,
but this time Cocoa Puffs or Nat is going to be there to help out Princess May, but the flash going to get burned by Storm, and just that's all they're going to get. They're only going to get the flash, and actually Eli changed looking for Spoobert, and now the 2-on-1 happening on the opposite side, but the turret is in the way, gets the shield, but still flashing in, getting the kill. And Elysium just kind of winning on every side of the map. Wherever you bring numbers, that's where you're gonna be okay, but you're not gonna get a win. Elysium takes all.
Yeah, I mean, Elysium is looking super strong here in the early game, and it's also just XG not giving them the full respect at any side of the map. It looks like another play is going to be happening up here in the top lane.
Yeah, there is 3, but Cocoa Puffs or Nat is in the area, so they're not going to do the dive. They're not going to continue forward, but pretty big gold lead already. I mean, Storm, 600 gold up, and we were talking about the Mbessa needing to scale up, needing to be one of those carry threats, and that's exactly what they have. 2 kills on the top lane, 1 over on this area for Chaser, and then Queen Sticks gets a kill as well, kind of that side carry that we were talking about. So the gold is just going into the perfect spots for Elysium.
Yeah, and I mean, we're starting to see also the CS discrepancy in the jungle with how strong Morgana is at clearing. You know, Trundle is starting to fall behind. Not super much. He's been doing really well at rotating his camps, Cocoa Puffs has, but also he's been trying to help out his lanes more than Queen Sticks has. It's really that blue buff that hindered her early clear, but now she's looking for another play in the bot lane.
Yeah, Queen Sticks not going to be able to get it with the Black Shoot, but still going to be coming in with the Soul Shackles. They have the Charm as well, and Princess May is going to go down. It does go over to EXE, but it's still slowing down the 80 carry.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more blatant disrespect here out of the side of XG Gorilla, just not doing anything. Princess May didn't have flash. He still burned the cleanse, even though there was basically no hope in escaping that play. But now Cocoa Puffs is looking to go in onto this Scuttle Crab, but it's just not looking good anywhere. Unknown Lag even in trouble in the mid lane. Naysayer getting a big chunk of damage onto him, and now Scuba could be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, there's just trading going on all across the map. And Elysium not getting any kills with those trades, not always anyway, but they're always on the winning side of those trades, regardless of which lane you look at. And I mean, that just has to spell disaster for XG. They do have scaling. They're not completely out of it yet, but being down 2.5k this early has to be scary.
Yeah, and I mean, the Infernal Dragon is up. We know that Elysium is stronger at this point. They're not starting it just quite yet, but with the vision they have around it, they know when XG will look to start it, so they're not really in a rush to be getting on this one, especially if they want Chaser and EXE to get a recall to spend some of that gold that they are sitting on right now. I mean, it's only 950 gold here on the side of Chaser, but it could be a beneficial recall to take, because the sooner you start getting to these breakpoints, to these fully completed items, it could be a big factor in these team fights. I mean, he'd probably only get a slingshot at this point, which is kind of a terrible item. So I'm not surprised to see him still sitting around on this map, just looking to create pressure in the bottom lane, not letting the dragon be focused down by the side of XG. Scoobert up in the top lane, just collecting some plates from himself, despite being 0-3. He's not down terribly in gold. He's down only 100 gold now, but it's going to grow because Storm is going to pick up these minion waves. But overall, XG still has the opportunity to come back in this game, but just the way Elysium has been playing, it's pretty hard to find punishment onto them and find a way to get the angles that you're looking for, to get a fight, to get a pick, the way that Elysium has been playing safe and also aggressive on the side of the maps that they know they're allowed to.
Yeah, and I think the really scary thing for XG Gorilla is that when you pick the Trundle, you want some of that early game pressure. You want to be aggressive. You want to get some value out of it immediately. And they just haven't been able to get any. Cocoa Puffs still 0 kill participation. Granted, that's true for everyone on XG Gorilla. Elysium still yet to lose a member this game. And I mean, that's just going to be the real scary part. But right now, Cocoa Puffs are now looking to gank over into the top. So trying to bait in Storm. But Storm going to be able to catch that out. Then the Pillar going to be coming out. And they're going to use the subjugation as well. And Storm going to get bitten down. No stun available. And with the Black Shield coming in, public execution to try and turn this. And Cocoa Puffs are now going to be going down. Queen Sticks in the right spot at the right time. Going to turn it around for Elysium.
Yeah, Spoober could have burned flat Ghost there to be able to get on top of Storm faster, to be able to support Coco in that play, and they might have been able to pick up that kill. But because he was playing passive, he was playing a bit trepidatious, they were just not able to make the play happen. Cocoa Puffs, you could say, was a little bit over-aggressive in that one, but I think Storm just played that one out better, getting that max range public execution to be able to turn that one around. Now, Unknown Mag taking a huge chunk of damage here in the mid lane. And I mean, yeah, XG doesn't have any kill participation for their team, but they're helping out the side of Elysium quite a bit in that kill participation department at this point in the game. But now Storm actually could go down on Hubert
Ghost gonna get popped as well. Flash already burned, but I don't think Storm can get out of this. The lane is quite long, so Spoobert gonna get the first kill of the game for XG Gorilla, and that's a shutdown as well. And Spoobert with a full item already has already has that Frozen Gauntlet. Sorry, I could not remember the name of that item for the life of me. This is going to be a pretty strong Udyr, and pushing in this top side, going to have some free time on the turret. Storm still has 15 seconds. This might even be first turret of the game going over to XG Gorilla.
I'm not sure if it'll be quite first turret at this point. He doesn't have the grubs helping him with the pushing power, and this isn't like those lethality one-shot.
First turret.
Never mind. Okay, my bad, Spoober. I was not familiar with your game, but I honestly I didn't think he was gonna take that turret. Full transparency there, but now
look at
Spoober with the gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, that shutdown going in the right place. And I only call that because the plates were just about to fall off. So that's why I had faith in Spoobert there. But I'm in almost 700 gold lead for Spoobert. That's going to make the side lanes go in favor of XG Gorilla. They're going to have strength in that. They're going to have strength in the split push. And then later on in those team fights, Spoobert's going to be able to be an absolute menace. So I have a lot of faith in that. The real issue right now is Eli Chaser 1.4k up onto Princess May. Now, we know that Smolder isn't really super tied to the gold, but it's still going to be pretty scary. Without items, it's harder to get stacks, and it's harder to deal damage without that execution that Smolder's going to get later on.
Yeah, and speaking of stacks, I'm curious if we can get a stack update on this Smolder at this point in the game to see how good May is doing at keeping
103, actually not bad.
103. Yeah, doing a pretty good job for themselves at this point. It's already blasting off of the killed minions onto the back line. It's just really now looking for that XP point, that 225, and now Scuba and Storm are trading again in this bot lane now. A little bit of Australian lanes as the Rift Herald is picked up for the side of Elysium. So that is the full feats of strength to them. They did get the first 3 kills quite handedly, and now the 3 objectives, even though the first turret did go to the side of XG Gorilla. But now Storm and Spoobert are still going at it in this bottom lane, and with that Frozen Gauntlet, Spoobert has a lot more sticking power and a lot more tankiness, so is able to take these trades a little bit better into the side of Storm. It's just really curious to see what's going to happen at those 2 item breakpoints, how this 1v1 does end up playing out the way these two have been playing. But now Naysayer was looking to go in on Unknown Lag, did not hit the Justice Punch, so Unknown Lag able to just use the weirding to get out of that one.
Yeah, but Spoobert with that turtle form is able to have so much of stamina. Now Coco Buster Knack coming into the bot lane, and Public Execution is going to get used to buy a decent amount of space and will be able to get back to safety. And now Queen Styx lands the Dark Binding. Naysayer is going to be here as well. They could look for both. Todd going to land on it too, and Coco Puffs is going to be the first one to go down. Spoobert still trying to get away. Will be able to dodge out on the Dark Binding. Will there be another set of cooldowns? So it looks like Spoobert is going to be okay, at least for now. But the flash coming out of Naysayer will land the taunt, and that's still not enough for now, but EXE is on the way, and Queen Styx with a Tormented Soil going to be able to get the kill. But on the opposite side, Eli Chaser with the crash over the Magnetic Storm over top. Mom going to get called out over top, trying to get away. The Lightning Crash buys some space, but the final auto coming out of Princess May. Shutdown going to the Smolder.
Yeah, but now Storm is looking to get them on the retreat. I don't think he'll be able to do so, but man, Spoobert almost living in that play is crazy. And then Storm, once again, not dying to the 2v1 gank and getting the help from his team to be able to turn the play around is so big for the side of Elysium. Now Queen Styx on this Morgana. She is sitting at 4-0-1. And I was talking about how this Morgana wants to get to about 1, 2, maybe 3 items to be a factor in this game. And she is well on her way to having impact in these team fights. Already having that Dark Binding accuracy, the route on that is so long. Everybody knows the meme of just getting hit by a Morgana binding, and that it's the skeleton sitting at a chair staring at a computer. But also, this is not a support Morgana. This is going to be a full AP Morgana. It is going to do damage, unlike the never-ending relentless of poke that comes out of the support role when you do pick this Morgana. So Queen Styx is looking solid on one of her champions here in game number 1.
Yeah, and I mean, this Morgana, like you said, 2 items is going to be needed to really have that carry potential unlocked. But, I mean, even without the items, it's just been playing extremely well. Already kind of carrying the team, at least for the starting part. And that's with losing the blue buff on that first clear. So, started off a little bit weak, but on the other side of the map right now, Storm going to be able to get that turret in the top lane. We'll get a little bit of gold back onto the Ambessa. Maybe we'll make the matchup into Spoobert a bit better. The Cocoa Buster now is in the area, but the Shattering Strike not going to be able to land the stun onto Queen Styx. But the Dragon is going to get pulled, and it is going to be that Ocean Drake and Ocean Soul for this game. So now both teams are starting to group. Storm, the only player not here, but as I say that, Teleport going to be channeled in the back lane. Naysayer already trying to get onto them, but Lightning Crash in the back line. The weirding, everything just coming up, but Mom over top, still not going to be enough. It's still going towards Elysium, and they just take down 4. The damage that's coming out of Eli Chaser way too high for XG to deal with.
Yeah, and then Naysayer heroic entrance hitting a huge 4-man knockup once everybody was on top of his 80 carry was so detrimental to the side of XG Gorilla. It was looking good for them at the start of the fight, but Princess May got isolated by the Galio, and the flanking TP Ambessa was not really able to contribute into that fight at all. But the side of Elysium, even though everything was used on Chaser, they had the peel from this Morgana, from this Rakan, and then they were just able to pick up turrets all over the map, pick up the Dragon for themselves, and are still holding on to that 6k gold lead. It is looking better and better for Elysium, and we're seeing the angles from XG, but it is starting to look more and more difficult to execute on them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the real issue behind it. Oh, at this point, it has to be Princess May. They're just waiting for the Smolder to come online. But Smolder doesn't really deal a ton of damage until those stacks are. And Storm, with the help of EXE, gonna force out the flash. Public Execution just only coming off cooldown right now. Could have definitely been another kill going the way of Storm. But, I mean, that's just going to be another free summoner spell getting burned on the side of XG Gorilla. And they can just continue to press forward. They have a pretty solid scaling team comp themselves, but with the lead they have, I don't think they even need to wait for it.
Yeah, I mean, they're popping the Herald here to get that tier 2 in mid lane. Spoobert's going to try to trade with Naysayer down here in the bottom lane, but it's not looking so good. The second tier 2 is going to fall from the Rift Herald. Storm going to hop in and look to ride this to who knows where at this point. It looks like towards the Otacon as pings are coming out for the side of Elysium, looking to just start up that powerful neutral objective at this point, knowing we have the money to be able to turn a fight even with the Otacon debuffs, but it can still be scary. We've seen so many times that Otacon is the spot where games are flipped on their head, and Elysium not wanting to risk it with the threat of the mid lane push coming out from the side. Actually, Gorilla.
Yeah, but they're going to come out with a Public Execution. Storm is alone in the middle of everyone, but the charm, the Grand Entrance connects. And Princess May still alive, and actually Storm going to be the first one to go down with Between Worlds. And Soul Shackle not going to land onto anyone. Hero Entrance coming out onto Queen Styx. Will keep Queen Styx alive, but Naysayer actually trying to go back in. So it is going to be a 2-for-1. Princess May still going to go down during that play, but extra Gorilla finally finding an angle to get some kind of an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to just force everything on to this Ambessa who was trying to get in. They did hit the Public Execution on to the Smolder, but there was enough peel and enough space to create from May, even getting hit up by the quickness out of EXE. It was not just quite enough to fully burst down Princess May before the Mom came out, before the healing came out to last just a little bit longer in that team fight, to be able to turn it in favor of XG Gorilla. And they did also get the Galio ult of that play. Spoober did have to burn his own TP to be able to be there to try to contribute to that team fight, but XG Gorilla, they snapped that engage immediately once it was used onto Princess May, able to turn that around in their favor. And we see how their team comp works. We see how they want to fight. And with that little play in the mid lane, you can see that they still have the angles back into this game. It just needs to be executed on to the almost perfection out of them to be able to start clawing back from this gold lead.
Yeah, but there is going to be 2 items now on Princess May. Has that Spear of Shojin. That'll definitely help out a lot in these team fights. And again, the Smolder is stacking. Isn't strong yet, but is slowly getting to the point where they can definitely start fighting. But now the next Dragon is going to be spawning in a minute. And I think that's going to be the next target for both these 2 teams. 2-1 in terms of Drake, so none of them are really going to be fighting for Soul yet. There's still time if teams want to kind of give it away if they don't think the angle's there, but we were going to be trading into Storm, but there's 2 members coming in. Make that 3 with a TP coming through, and there it is. They're going to be going immediately. Just everything burned. The quickness, the Public Execution. And Spoobird gonna be going down. 45 seconds till Dragon, so Spoobird will be up as Dragon spawns, but instead, actually, Gorilla, they're looking for the Otacon.
Yeah, and I was looking in between that play of just like levels on the side of actually Gorilla. You see Princess May is down 2 levels, Unknown Lag is down a level to Naysayer, and then Spoobert and Storm were the only ones matching level right now, but the Death Rush is there.
Yeah, they're looking for the potential fight. Naysayer is actually going to dive into the front, but Storm is on the back line between worlds. Is there Unknown Lag trying to stay alive, but Chaser with the damage, and now Queen Six just zoning away Cocoa Puffs as McFeeds is alone, and the Torment is only going to be enough, and the flash burn from Cocoa Puffs are now as well. And that's going to be at least the Otacon. Dragon going to be spawning right after, and I don't see any reason why they can't just go for both.
Yeah, I mean, that is 2 beautiful flanking TPs out of Storm in 2 back-to-back team fights. The one at the Dragon and now around the Otacon. The Death Rush was there for the side of XG, but because you have Morgana on your team, you can just free check that bush, and if you get a proc, you know that they are there. So overall, Elysium is just still playing this map better. You see that Spoober is on this Dragon. Princess May coming over to try to burn this down while Elysium runs back from the base.
Yeah, nice pun, burning it down. I'm not sure if that's what you meant, but that's what I'm going to see anyway. They might be able to. They're getting pretty close to 3 HP left, and it's only EXC that is in the area. The support steal from their gun not going to be coming through, so it is going to be the second Dragon of the game, but the quickness with the hero's entrance as well will be able to find onto Princess May. So Princess May gonna go down for that, but with the objective bounty, if they don't lose anything else, I think you take that on XG.
Yeah, Spoober is still going to have to run here, but nice use of the empowered ram to get the unstoppable from the knockup, and they were able to pick up that Dragon. That was, like you said, a nice pickup for them. It had the objective bounty. They only did lose the smolder.
Naysayer looking for the taunt, and then Dark binding onto the backline as well. Grand entrance onto McFeeds. McFeeds getting zoned away just health-wise, but still, no one going down yet. Spoobert and Unknown Lag just trying to clear out these minions. And again, just another round of Polka, this time onto Unknown Lag, but this time they have the damage. Lightning Crash as well, as Eli Chaser could continue running, but it is just going to be the 2-for-0. Spoobert and Unknown Lag going down in that fight.
Yeah, Queen Sticks hit a nice Dark Binding onto Unknown Lag, and then immediately the rest of the team from Luna follows up on it, able to pick off of the mid laner from the side of XG Gorilla. It is just, like I said, they have the team fight comp on the side of XG to come back in this game, but Elysium Luna is just looking so much cleaner here in game number 1. The way they played from the early game to the mid game and now starting to get into the late game, it is just looking almost over at this point in the game, but anything can happen in the game of League of Legends. Baron is on the Rift, not just similar to Otacon. Baron was the old throw spot. It's not so much anymore, but it can still happen. It just needs to be absolutely perfect outside of XG, but now Elysium is looking for more picks in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, but without the Dark Binding landing, gonna be hard to follow up on a Cocoa Puffs right now. They will at least be able to steal away the chickens, and now they can go for the Baron. But like you said, it is the old throw spot, but most of their main cooldowns are available. Eli and Chase are gonna be missing the flash, and it doesn't look like they even want to contest it on the side of XG Gorilla. I think they just feel that they are too weak for this, so it's just gonna be a free uncontested Baron going over to Elysium, and I think at this point, they could just try to look to end the game with this.
Yeah, and I mean, it is just level leads also everywhere on the side of Elysium. It is 2 levels in the AD carry role, 2 in the mid, 2 in the jungle, 1 in the top, and 2 in the support. It is just looking like this is just going to be Elysium Luna taking game 1 in kind of in dominant fashion. The side of XG, they're going to pick up the gold bounty in the bot lane, pushing down that turret, just trying to get any standing gold that is still available for them for the taking on this map. But now they're going to have to start making their defense in their base. The wave clear is pretty solid on the side of XG, thanks to the Aurora and the Smolder and even the Udyr, but it all just comes down to if Queen Six hits one of these bindings, if they get a pick off with public execution or a nice engage at EXE, the game could be over in a moment's notice.
Yes, but they have that execute now. They have those 225 stacks on Princess May. So they do definitely have the possibility of just winning out through fights with that. It means that there's a lot less health to burn from, and there's a lot more damage just coming through out of Princess May in general. So the longer these fights go, the better it does get for XG. But at the same time, they have the Lightning Crash. They're going to be able to just fight for a while. But now Lightning Storm in the back line between worlds as well. Mob almost taking out Queen Styx, but will go golden just in time. The Achu going to be able to land as Princess May will get channeled on by Naysayer, but not going to get taunted enough. Flashes away. And a public execution, so it is 3 for 1 so far. Princess May needs to run away, is very low HP. And that's going to be mid-tier 3 going down. Top tier 3 should follow. And Elysium, they could still look to keep going.
Yeah, they tried to get the engage onto Chaser, but Queen Styx got a nice black shield onto their AD carry. Now Spoober is looking to run down Storm here.
Yeah, looking for the 1 kill, but it doesn't matter right now. And Princess May gonna get collapsed upon. The taunt is gonna be there, but the cleanse will prevent that from being a full kill. Now EXC starting to get pretty low. Hero's entrance as one. Princess May actually gonna walk right into it as Spoober still fighting in the back line, trying to get as much damage as possible. Almost close to that execute threshold, but not gonna be able to get it yet. Princess May looking for Eli Chaser, and the Achu gonna get the double kill, but that's still gonna be the mid inhib going down. They're not going to end the game yet, and in fact, a little bit of a delayed ace coming out from XG. Naysayer, last one, trying to get away, will have the pillar, but will still end up going down. Shutdown going over to Unknown Lag, but their base is still absolutely in shambles.
Yeah, it is in shambles, but we've seen this from teams in this elo, even lower and higher all the time, until you get to like that Challenger Masters level where you don't just end the game, you try to get those kills. Elysium tried to get the bonus kill onto Princess May.
Not going to be able to find Cocoa Buster now. I mean, 9-2 and 9 Morgana, I genuinely think can burst down this Trundle.
Oh, 100%. And Cocoa Buster is going to have to play like his life depends on it.
Yeah, no. Because it does. And look, just a Dark Binding Tormented Soil, already a third of this Trundle's HP. And Tormented Soil does more damage the lower HP they are. So, I mean, that's the best situation possible for Cocoa Puffs. Now, unfortunately, even with all those kills, they're not going to be able to take the Dragon on the back end of that. So Elysium will still at least be able to secure that for themselves, put themselves onto Soul Point. XG bought a little bit of time, but it's still going to be so hard to try and come back. Even if their Smolder now has that execute available.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that Elysium probably could have ended the game when they had the Baron buff when they were pushing in if they didn't go for that extra kill, but now XG still has a window in. Never mind,
public execution going on to Spoober, but Spoober gonna get the stun up now. Quickness, grand entrance as well. The damage now following up. Eli Chaser gonna be in the area. And that's a really big kill to get. Spoober was so instrumental in that base hold last time. And now they're not going to have that frontliner. It's really just going to be that Rel, who as a support still isn't fully tanky. You're not able to build those tank items. And Cocoa Puffs are now just in a bruiser build. Not going to be able to be that frontliner that Princess May needs. But Unknown Lag looking for a play, but going to get rooted up by the Dark Binding. Now Grand Entrance over top. And all the burst damage that they need is going to be there. Now Mom, over top, they have a lot of damage into the backline as well. And Eli Chaser will burn down. So that's going to be a shutdown going over to Princess May. Another fight still continuing. Hero's entrance actually going to get used as an escape. And now EXE caught in the Magnet Storm is slowly getting burst down. And Princess May will be able to get that kill again. So they do hold.
Oh man, we've seen this before where Smolders start to do this. It is starting to look like Elysium is starting to slip at the finish line while XG is still trying to hold strong. Yes, their base is in tatters, in shambles. They're down to 1 Nexus turret, but they just slowly keep winning these fights, slowly clawing back at a gold lead, at a chance, a hope back into this game. And I mean, I gotta shout out Queen Styx. Every time Unknown Lag goes for that QE combo with the little dash back, Queen Styx knows it perfectly and has been hitting these Dark Bindings every single time to punish this Aurora. And we've seen the side of Elysium follow up on it every single time. And I mean, it's still Elysium's game to win. It is Elysium's game to lose. But now Baron is looking its face back to getting on this Rift in 30 seconds. Actually is getting vision on it. I don't think they're going to fight for it with the state their base is in. But if those inhibitors are up, there might be an opportunity for them to look to fight at this Baron, potentially try to get back in the game with it.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the really scary thing for XG because if they lose the Baron, if Elysium gets it, they can definitely just look to end the game. The wave clear starts mattering so much less if there is a Baron buff just helping out those minions. But like you said, their inhibitors are down. They don't know if they can go into it. They don't think they can contest it. So they're kind of left with a difficult choice. Just the defense is still going to be possible, but it's going to be so so difficult for XG Gorilla. So they're kind of in that between state right now, but Dark Binding not going to be able to land quite yet, but a fight surely to break out at any moment.
Yeah, and I mean, the side of Elysium playing it smart, not starting up the Baron, trying to find where that enemy jungler is, because the only way that the game can turn is Coco gets like this blast cone over the wall. Okay, you just hit the blast cone, please, Elysium. If you're gonna do the Baron,
They
just
don't
hit the
hit
blast cone.
But Naysayer is in the backline. The Coco Puffs are not gonna jump onto that immediately. Spoobert is gonna be in the area as well, but it looks like Elysium, they're looking to collapse as well. And now they have everything. Heroes entrance over top. Mob just onto everything. And they have the grand entrance in the backline, but Princess May still at 3 hitting, but it's already 3 gone. It's gonna be all 5. And just a clean ace from Elysium. Quadra kill to Eli Chaser as they're gonna push through the bot lane, and game number 1 gonna be going the way of Elysium.
Yeah, and just like that, the game is over in a moment's notice. XG thought they had a pick on to Naysayer, but the rest of the Elysium team was there to collapse faster and able to turn it around. It was a well-fought chance for XG to try to get back here into this game number 1, but the early lead that Elysium had, the way they played the map, the way they played their comp, was far better and able to claim game number 1.
Yeah, and I mean, they did have the lead for most of the game, but you still got to give credit to Gorilla, making it seem close for a little while. The Smolder almost had that Smolder fantasy, you know, just like scaling up, getting the items, and then just burning everything in its path. But Elysium, they played so well together, and I think that's what makes them scary.
Yeah, I mean, they have been playing with each other for a while back, for a couple months, have been scrimming, have been getting ready for this season, and we see it work out. I remember seeing Queen Sticks in other leagues not really getting to play these AP mages, just being forced to play like these meta junglers, but the side of Elysium Luna has found the way to make these picks work for them, and we see how strong it is when people are on their comfort picks, on their champions, and the way the teams can make it work. So Elysium Luna is going to look to repeat that in game number 2, look to get another one of these comps that are super hyper specific towards them, while XG is going to have to go back to the drawing board and look for a way to get a series off of the undefeated Elysium Luna team.
Yeah, and we'll see if they are able to do that. But for now, we're going to go to another break. And when we come back, we're going to have the draft starting for game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. All right, and we are back, and we are headed into the second draft between Elysium Luna and XG Gorilla, and Elysium Luna gonna try and close this out 2-0.
Yeah, and the sides are staying exactly the same here for game number 2. XG saying it wasn't the side that was the problem, it was our draft and our execution, but we can make it work here again in game number 2. But now we're seeing a much heavier focus on 2 queen sticks in the band here. She is not going to get Zyra. She is not going to get Nunu. These are 2 other champions that she does play quite frequently, so not surprised to see that is the focus target here in this series. I'm just really curious to see what other changes are going to be coming out here for the side of XG Gorilla, because Elysium Luna is targeting down Spoober with these bans. He's not going to have Gragas. He's not going to have Volibear. So really curious to see how these teams adapt to this draft and how things have changed so far for this game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, we're already seeing a couple of different bans too. I mean, I don't believe the Nunu was banned. Last time they did ban away the Mel, so that will be available for Elysium Luna, but instead they're going to pick up the J4. So that's going to be a pretty solid engage opportunity for them as well. It's a very good jungler.
Yeah, I mean, the side of Luna did ban that away in game number 1, but they're keeping it open this time to take away from Cocoa Puffs, not letting him get his jungler, but he still has options to himself. He has the Fury if he wants to fall back on that one. Nocturne is available as well, 2 champions that he does play quite often and has a high mastery. Maokai, a flex pick for the side of XG. McFeeds does play this a lot, and I do believe that Cocoa Puffs also can play this jungle tree. Rather effectively. Yeah, they both do play it, so it is a flex pick between these 2. So going for more flexibility in their draft here instead of full focus on to picking stuff. But now a Kog'Maw hover could, yeah, I was gonna say that's interesting to hover a Kog'Maw into a Jarvan.
Yeah, it's interesting to hover it into a Jarvan, and it's also interesting to pick it on red too, because you typically want that as part of your combo. It's because if you pick it, you basically have to have a Lulu with it. Otherwise, you're so in harm's way. You're not going to have the extra DPS that you get from picks, because the attack speed coming out from Kog'Maw is ridiculously high. So I prefer this Corki pick. I think it's going to be a lot stronger for them. And I mean, that's going to be scaling. It's going to be poke. It pretty much gives a little bit of everything.
I mean, actually could have picked the Kog'Maw in that spot if they really wanted it, because you don't necessarily need Lulu. You can still make it work with Milio as well. But now the side of Elysium Luna gonna go for the Senna, and it's not the Senna of old. She does have less stack souls dropping on the minions, but it isn't like the old Senna where you're gonna pick a Tom Kench and he's gonna be farming the entire lane. This is still Senna that is farming, still looking to get those high damage numbers. Just looks to trade a little bit more in lane to get more stacks instead of just relying solely on the increased chance on the minion fall. But Jarvan Orianna, a combo as old. All we need is the Rumble pick to have the full hot pot combo come out for the side of Elysium Luna. But now, once again, Unknown Lag getting his choice here at counter pick in this game, and it's looking like he's looking towards Ahri. I like the Vigar a little bit more. It's a pretty good answer into Jarvan, but we'll see what XG does decide on going here. And it is just going to be that Ahri pick unless we get a last second swap. Nope, it's just Ahri.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ahri as well. And back when I used to play mid lane, and not even exaggerating, that was back in like season 3. That's when I was a mid main. Ahri Orianna used to be my favorite matchup on both sides of it, because it is such a skill-based matchup. Neither one really has an advantage over the other. Orianna can outplay the Ahri. Ahri can obviously outplay the Orianna. And it just, you get to really see which mid laner is stronger on these mages. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to seeing this trade, but next set of bans already coming through, and the Seraphine ban first by XG Gorilla.
I mean, I like it. Their team comp is kind of bursty at this point with the Corki and Ahri, so they don't want to have that Senna Seraphine healing power. And then the champion I mentioned, Nefiri, being banned away from Cocoa Puffs, thinking that this Maokai is going to be the support pick for McFeeds, but Cocoa Puffs has a pretty significant win rate on this Maokai, I believe, when I was looking at it. Let me go take a double check here. He's played 29 games of it this season with a 62% win rate, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this coming in the jungle here for Cocoa Puffs. And that's in solo queue, where it can be hard to play these tankier supportive junglers in that, so we'll see how it goes. But XG banning away the Nautilus this time, and then the Nocturne ban, as I also did mention, not going to be there. So I think with the support bans, I think XG is locking this in for the art. Okay, this might be a troll, because
might be a shout out to Chong.
It might be, because me and McFeeds are good friends. I'm also friends with Cocoa Puffs, and everybody knows me as the Bard main, and I was looking over solo queue and everything like that beforehand, and I did.
It is the
All
Bard.
right, it is the Bard pick here. All right, McFeeds, if you are listening, if you are watching, I will be harshly judging your Bard, and I will meet you in a voice chat after this to tell you if it was good or bad. But I'm excited. I am a Bard one trick. I am a Bard main. Everybody knows this, and I am excited to get to cast a Bard and not be the person who is always piloting it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a ton of fun. And even at MSI, we've seen a decent amount of Bard. I mean, Busio had an amazing game on it in their last series versus BLG. Those Temper Fates were like basically perfect, top notch the entire series. But on the opposite end, we're going to have the Milio locked in. Now, Milio Senna, not a super common combo, but does give a little bit of extra range to that cozy campfire. Could give a little bit of that extra playmaking. And then that ultimate being able to cleanse out the roots from Maokai. I mean, that could be pretty big for them as well.
Yeah, I think that's why they did go for the Milio pick, because really the only engage coming out from XG is this Maokai or this Bard with their ultimates. So Milio can be good into the Maokai, not so good into the Bard if you get hit by that Tempered Fate, and he also can't cleanse people out of it. So Milio really just picked there for the Maokai and can pair rather well with the Jarvan, giving him that extra healing and shielding. It's not really for the Senna in this matchup particularly, but it is for the team, as now looks like the Mundo might be the pickup here in the top lane for Spoober, and it is another one of his champions. Maybe he'll make this one work better than the Udyr, but these drafts, definitely two interesting approaches here by both teams for this game number 2.
Yeah, and this top lane is going to be pretty interesting too. I mean, Dr. Mundo, very infamous for being an absolute powerhouse in the late game, but is also infamous for being just absolutely nothing in the early game. Super weak, doesn't have any kind of crowd control, doesn't really have much going for it. Whereas Ornn, on the other hand, also going to be able to help the team be powerhouses in the late game, and actually has percent health damage with those brittle procs, so Mundo could be in danger.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting how the top laners 1v1 on the tanks when they 1v1'd on the bruisers last time, but definitely going to be interesting. That top lane matchup is kind of the weirdest skill tank matchup in the game, I think. If, like, Mundo doesn't get knocked up, he can probably try to 1v1 the Ornn, while Ornn, everybody knows he has, like, 60 different descriptions. Like, I'm surprised there hasn't been a copy pasta post about Ornn with his, like, one-shot potential made, but definitely going to be interesting to see how they play that one out up in the top lane after last game.
Yeah, now with that, gotta ask you the question. This time around, who do you favor? Just looking at the drafts anyway for game 2.
Yeah, I mean, call me biased, but I see a Bard on one team and the other team does not have a Bard. But now, realistically, looking at these drafts, I think I slightly favor Elysium in this one. I think their engage is much more clear and how they want to play out these team fights. You're either getting the Ornn Horn across multiple members, or you're looking for that Jarvan Orianna combo with the Senna all over top of it, and then just looking to play out these team fights with the cooldown rotations of Orianna and Senna. While XG is kind of looking more bursty because you have the Ahri. She isn't your typical like control mage like Orianna where you're trying to constantly throw out these spells. Ahri's looking for that charm, one-shot burst potential, while Corki, I mean, the poke on the side of XG is real with Corki and the Ahri, but I think Elysium has the easier execute teamfight and comp in this game number 2.
All right, well, we'll see which of these two teams is going to be able to come out on top in game 2. Elysium Luna looking to close the series out 2-0. And actually, Gorilla going to try and take us to a game 3. But we'll find out after we go through the spectator late and after we take a short break, who is going to be the winner of game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon.
Don't feel what you don't know, 'cause we're far from certain fate. And we'll make our final stand, lost in the dark. We've come so far, another step to rid the pain. Go and be counted till your last day, 'cause only nightmares break their flames. So stand upon these fallen lands. fight to break their spine and reclaim what once was mine. Those cravens backstabbed me, deceived me. Never shall I tolerate their crimes again. Now let the hunt begin. Oh, 7,000 souls scared and daunted, such a tale of woe. Not too long ago, this village was a golden scene of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order. I am the light bringer. Fellow warriors, I ask you, should my campaign come to an end, there's way more to avenge. Oh, 15 million souls living in this realm without much hope. Not too long ago, this kingdom was a golden state of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order.
All right, and now it's time for game number 2 between Elysium and XG. Gorilla. And pretty interesting start so far. No potion going to be on Queen Styx, and it's a ghost on the Senna.
Yeah, the Ghost Senna was what was really sticking out to me out of everything. I mean, it does make a lot of sense. You should have the range not to be hit by that Ari charm or be in range to get Maokai rooted off of that twisted advance. So, gonna go for the Ghost for that, but could make sense to also go Cleanse or Barrier, but I don't think Chaser and EXE are going to be looking to trade super much in this lane, so not wanting to go the barrier, just wanting to go for that sticking power of having the Ghost makes a lot more sense when you think about it in that 2v2 grand scheme of things. So, and overall, just a pretty basic start. McFeed's on the Bard, choosing to go with the everybody's favorite Bard skin, but not the best Bard skin. Don't at me. I am right. I am the Bard main.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not going to disagree with you. I don't know much about Bard, so you're definitely going to be my main source there. But I do know Senna, and I got to say, I feel like the Ghost is going to be very difficult to play, especially in the lane. We've seen the damage that Bard can deal. I mean, I don't need to tell you, you know. So it could be quite dangerous not having that barrier, especially in the first few levels.
Yeah, I mean, Bard has some of the biggest level 1 damage out of every support in the game with those empowered autos from the meeps. Also, the Q damage that does come out. That's why Electrocute Bard was the big thing for the longest time, because you would just hit an auto attack on somebody, hit them with a Q, and you would chunk them for about half of their HP bar at level 1. And now level 2, picking up here by the side of the Elysium bottom lane, and McFeed's also hitting it because you get that XP from picking up those chimes. He will always hit level 2 before his 80 carry does, just because of the early game chime spawns.
Yeah, and now we're also seeing in the mid lane lots of trading. Naysayer and Unknown Lag both starting at quite low, so if jungle intervention comes in shortly, at the very least, a flash could definitely get burned. But in the bot lane, this isn't very common, but Chaser just having full priority as Naysayer will be forced to flash out, just what I was saying. The Cocoa Puffs now will be forced to trade that flash back in return. So it isn't a free flash, but it definitely could be a potential regank later on.
Yeah, but now also Unknown Lag has the potential to get that 1v1 kill onto Naysayer with the Ahri Charm and everything like that. Now more trading in the top lane, Spoobert and Storm picking up where they left off in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a little bit surprised to see any kind of solo kills coming through in the top lane. I think Spoobert will do fine in terms of just poke and trade early on, but as a couple items come through, never mind. Storm's the one that's going to be aggressive, but Spoobert burns the ghost. They're looking for this fight. Storm will flash away, and Spoobert not feeling super confident to keep chasing it. Does know where Queen Styx was, and Queen Styx is in the area still. Another briefcase gonna land, and Storm's just trying to get back into lane, but now Queen Styx is going to be looking towards the top side. Ghost was already used. Will have that anti-CC shield available, but still gonna get broken down. And first blood going over to Queen Styx. So again, jungles both getting value across different lanes.
Yeah, just a little bit more value on one side of the map compared to the other. Spoobert wanted to go for the chase on Storm, but because he didn't fully commit to it, he wasn't able to push the wave fast enough either, and gets punished by Queen Styx clearing from bot to top while Coco is on the opposite clear path. So a nice play there out of the jungler of Elysium Luna to be able to pick up that free kill onto the Mundo, who does not have flash and already had Burn Ghost, but now Naysayer is the one in trouble in mid lane.
Yep, the regank is going to be here. The charm's going to land as well, and we'll just get pushed underneath the tower. So Unknown Lag gonna be able to get that kill, and that's why you regank.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't have played it any better out of the side of XG for that regang. Unknown Lag just started getting aggressive with Naysayer, and then it doesn't even burn the flash, waits to use the charm when Naysayer is kind of stuck between that wall and not having enough space to walk right, or can't walk left and can't flash over the wall. So Unknown Lag just waiting the time to hit him with that charm, and then Cocoa Puffs with the Twisted Advance, Bramble Smash back on the turret. I mean, everybody's seen how that goes and plays out before, so XG looking better in the start of game number 2, you could say. The Spoobert kind of picking up where he left off, dying for first blood, but not in a 1v1 scenario this time. But XG on the board early with kills in game number 2.
Yeah, but they are falling behind in gold right now. Or as I say that, it is about even. It's basically whoever gets a lane shoved in more. So very close game, and I think that is already a much closer start than we had. But now Storm still looking to go into Spoobert. Has the anti-heal as well with that Bramble Vest. So now Storm, with that wave's location, is actually in a really good spot. Has the HP advantage. Spoobert gonna struggle to approach this wave.
Yeah, and I mean, it is because of that assist gold that Storm had. He's even on CS. That Bramble Vest is so impactful in this 1v1 when everything Mundo does is based off of his HP and getting health back with those Qs, but he has to immediately pop that ultimate just to be able to stay in lane here. Once he does through that level 6 is Spoobert, and now he could still be in threat for a regank here if Queen Styx finishes these top side camps and decides to come back up to the top lane now that Storm is also level 6.
Yeah, and that's a very, very long cooldown. For anyone that doesn't play Dr. Mundo, the level 1 cooldown for maximum dosage is almost 2 minutes. So that's not going to be available for any kind of play, any kind of fight on the top side. Just kind of at the mercy of Storm's whims right now. Storm just having absolute control in this lane. And we're even seeing it starting to come out a little bit in the CS lead. And typically when you pick Ornn, when you're put on Ornn duty, you're not expected to win lanes. But right now, Storm doing it pretty handedly.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing his job in that lane, but Unknown Lag is winning out hard in this mid lane. He still has the flash advantage. He is level 6, so could look for that solo kill onto Naysayer. But otherwise, everything else is pretty even. It's just the lead in top for Storm and the lead in mid for Unknown Lag. Everybody else is about even at this point in the game, and we could see a potential play in the bot lane here.
Yeah, they're going to be aiming for them, able to get the stun onto both, but the follow-up, now the Valkyrie going to be coming through. Now they're looking towards Chaser and EXE. Unknown Lag coming in with the Spirit Rush, looking for EXE Charm, not going to be coming out quite yet, and not even needed. That's just going to be another kill to Unknown Lag. 2-0 right now on this Ahri.
Yeah, and I mean, that is the Bard potential. If people are pushing and don't respect it. On red side, Bard is so good at making those plays happen just because of the way that the wall is positioned and the way the wave is positioned. He's able to just use that magical journey to get behind both Chaser and EXE, and then able to hit that 2-man stun coming out of that Q. And then the nice roam there by Unknown Lag, having the mid shove, having the advantage in that one, is just able to get down to the bottom lane, make it work, take his reset, and CT back to mid lane, still holding holding onto Flash the whole while. Spoober burned old top
Yeah,
lane.
Storm and Spoober. Now this is where the all-in's going to be coming through. The Call of the Forge God. Not going to be able to get the knockup, but will still proc Brittle. And one more hit, and Storm going to be able to get that solo bolo in the top lane. As now, Nature's Grasp looking through the mid lane, but Naysayer just going to be able to walk it out. Unfortunately, the angle just wasn't there for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we did get the 1v1 kill up in the top lane. McPheeds tried to get up there to save his top lane. And Burned Heal tried to get those heals down for him with a little bit of hot cocoa, but just not able to be enough. The Brittle procs and the Bramble Vest playing big dividends in that matchup for Storm to be able to get that 1v1 kill. But now, like Elysium did in game number 1, actually doing in game number 2 a lane swap to have priority for these grubs, but it's just going to be a tradable neutral objective as Elysium Luna picks up the Hextech Dragon down on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, and the gold is still even, but most importantly right now, we're seeing Storm is ahead over in the top lane. That's a pretty late game scaler. Eli Chaser doing really well in the bot lane as well. I mean, this is basically what you want. Elysium is getting every single thing on the map. Now, the only place where they are falling behind a little bit right now is Unknown Lag. 2-0 on this Ahri could still be the threat coming out of the mid lane. But, I mean, even in this 2-1 lane, Storm is just doing quite well in Princess May.
Yeah, I mean, Orin is kind of very resilient, and it's hard to do a lot of impactful damage to him in that setup, especially with having the Bramble Vest. The May's going to take a lot of trade damage back from it and not get as much healing back from its feeds, but now Naysayer is actually getting some nice trade back onto Unknown Lag. The first time I think we've seen Naysayer on the positive side of a trade in this 1v1 matchup. But now lanes are going back to normal. You see May and McPheeds running back down to the bottom lane. Spoobert running back up to the top lane to try to answer this Ornn again. But overall, it's just going to be a little bit of a lull here until the next dragon does spawn, where it could be where the next teams are looking to play. I'm curious when McPheeds will use his first spellbook swap here, but not Queen Sticks.
Gonna be in a bit of a dangerous spot, but EXE is in the air. TP gonna be coming in from Storm. They might look to fight this. Call of the Forge God is available. Queen Sticks will get the Cataclysm and a Cocoa Buster now. Will flash away into the Blast Cone. Now Temporal Fade, but Unknown Lag super low and will get taken down. That's gonna be Feats of Warfare going to the side of Elysium as Naysayer gets the first of the game.
Yeah, Naysayer, they were able to get onto Unknown Lag and able to burst him down. He even used the ultimate and flash, but the auto attack was in the air from Naysayer, so that is going to go through no matter what and able to pick up the kill from it. They tried to turn it around. They saved Cocoa Puffs, but it was in vain because Unknown Lag, your fed Ahri, does end up falling down. McPheeds tried to get a 3-man Tempered Fate, but it just only hit onto the Milio, but now we see Queen Sticks look for a play in the bot lane.
Yeah, Princess May is probably going to end up being the target, but the Flag Dragon not going to be able to land. Valkyrie, too good of a tool to escape in those situations. And during all of that, Spoober was just free hitting onto the top lane turret, gets 3 plates on the Mundo, and this is also a champion that scales extremely well into the late game. I mean, we've seen what it can do. And with only a Senna, do you think they'll even have the damage in the late game to deal with Spoober?
Yeah, it's gonna be that question because you do have the Senna. It's not one of those hyperscalers, not one of those tank killers. She's able to do it, but it just takes so long to be able to do so. She does have that locked attack speed that a lot of people don't know about. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they are able to kill this Mundo if Spoobert is able to get to that point where he is just the mega tank in this game. But overall, they could look onto May again. They're getting a nice bit of damage onto her, but nothing really else coming from it as, never mind, rooted up.
The root is going to land, and do they have the damage, though? They're not going to use the Dawning Shadow. They're not going to commit onto it, but Princess May still getting poked out of this lane, and Chaser is just going to continue stacking up, and I'm wondering if we can get a check on stacks because I feel like Chaser's been doing really well so far.
Yeah, we'll see where he's sitting at when we do get to that point. We're at 30 stacks, so doing pretty good on the stack point at this point in the game. It's not like the old support Senna where you're just like hyper scaling on stacks. This is a slower scaling stack, one where the big threshold is that 70-75
now. Looking towards Storm, not gonna get the root yet. Storm able to use the Bellows Breath to buffer that, so we'll be able to back out safely, but it seems like Cocoa Puffs right now feels that they have to gank this top side, or else it's just going to keep going poorly for Spoober. Now 2v2 is going to be coming out. Call of the Forge God, Nature's Grasp over top as well. And now they're going to be aiming everything onto Queen 6, donning Shadow over top. And Spoober, you're stuck in the Cataclysm, still trying to heal up, but will not be able to out-sustain the damage. And now Naysayer's here as well, looking for Cocoa Buster now. The McFeeds is actually going to TP in. Unknown Light going to be here as well. Lands the charm onto Naysayer. And now both sides trying to back up. They have the Tempered Fate. It is going to be on the Naysayer. Has a shield and Shockwave. Lands on a 3, but the damage isn't there. Storm going to get followed up on. Unknown Lag will get the double kill. Has the extra charge of Spirit Rush, but that's just going to get used defensively to get away. And I think it was a pretty close trade, but XG taking the lead on that one.
Yeah, Summoner Spellbook coming in clutch there for the side of XG. Gorilla, and McFeeds TPs up to the top lane to save the play. And Unknown Lag is the one who gets the spoils. All 4 kills for his team here on this R. He played that fight out extremely well. Even used a charge of Spirit Rush to get out of the Shockwave at Naysayer. McFeeds, yeah, cute. You know the tech. All right, buddy. No, I'm kidding. He's been doing pretty good on the Bard so far. Was a nice Tempered Fade there up in the top lane as well. Now Spoobert is actually taking a little bit of damage from Tracer and EXE here, but Cocoa Puffs looking for a gank in response here, but a nice ward is going to keep the bot lane of Elysium safe as Dragon has hit the Rift, and we get a spawn. Storm is DC'd.
It's been a while since we've had one of those, and I am thankful for that, but every series has to have at least one, so we are going to pause for now, and let's just take a look at the gold lead right now. I mean, 500 gold in favor of Storm. And that's what Spoober kind of having free time at the top lane, just shoving waves, getting those plates. So this Ornn is very powerful right now.
Yeah, and it's also a 600 gold lead for Chaser over Princess May on this Senna as well. The big gold lead that is keeping XG Gorilla in this game is literally just Unknown Lag up 1.2 thousand gold here at this point over Naysayer. Otherwise, it would be a larger gold lead. It is even because of that point in this game and turret plates that have been picked up for the side of XG. I mean, it is a nail-biting close game compared to how it was in game number 1, where Elysium kind of was just already running away with the game at this point. But XG changed it up in draft, changed up the way they want to play the map, and are looking a little bit better here in this game number 2, looking to take a series, hopefully, off of Elysium if they're able to win this one and the next one. But we won't know what's happened, but just looking at item breakpoints, summoner spells that have been used in preparation for this next dragon fight, there is only flashes on the bottom lanes for both teams, and otherwise it is like almost every ultimate still on cooldown at this point because of that fight that did break out in the top lane.
Yeah, but one major thing that they do have is the Breath of Life is still going to be available for EXE, and that could spell trouble, especially because, like you said, it's just Unknown Lag that's really going to be able to make these plays happen. And if you're able to cleanse out the charm immediately and give that extra HP, it could be pretty hard to find the angle on the play, and it could be hard to just get on top of Chaser, who not only has the flash, but also the ghost. So a lot of counterplay available, and with the extra movement speed from Curse of the Black Mist, it's going to be so hard to lock down this Senna without the help of those ultimates. So a big part of it is just going to be the positioning of Chaser.
Yeah, and I think it's also going to be how May positions in this team fight. Still has full summoner spells, and Corky does do a lot of damage in these team fights thanks to that Gatling gun, hitting those phosphorus bombs and the missiles as well. It's definitely going to be interesting to see if a fight does break out and how it does end up playing out, because right now it looks like SG are trying to push out lanes, they're trying to push out bot lane, they're trying to push out mid lane, while we see Queen Styx is in the back of that dragon pit looking to maybe make a play happen or even start up the dragon to force a fight.
Yeah, and it's all really just going to come down to really the execution and everything else that they're going to be able to throw out there. But looking over at the cooldowns, the Seraphs is going to be down for Naysayer as well. And I think that did save Naysayer's life in the top lane for that exchange. Without it, would have gone down a lot quicker. I wouldn't have been able to get that Shockwave out. And Shockwave is pretty close to being off cooldown, so that could definitely still come into play for this next fight. So, I mean, it's really difficult to say how this fight's going to go, because this entire game 2 so far has been extremely close. Both of these two teams just playing on a knife's edge to see who's going to be able to come out on top.
Yeah, and another thing I do want to talk about is this Spoobert build just wanting to hold onto his pants with 3 Giants belts in his inventory here. Definitely an interesting choice. I know Mundo does kind of scale off of just pure HP stats. Giants belt is the king of that one, so not going for a completed item or towards one at this point is a little bit difficult because you're about 15 minutes into the game, or we're 14 minutes into the game. He probably could have had a hard steal completed at this point, but hasn't gone for it. So really curious to see what he's doing with this build at this point in the game.
Oh, and they're playing Roblox. We had to talk about that game a little bit earlier, but they should be getting started soon. We should be right back into the game.
Man.
Unfortunately, we're on the Aegis channel, so can't bring it up. But it is going to be. They should be getting back into the game shortly. Storm has now reconnected, as you probably saw in the chat before our producer disabled it again. I mean, there's reasons why we do it. It's not just for potential profanity filters, but also just to give the players their privacy. You know, sometimes you want to talk, but we are back into the game, and we are going to have the momentary blip. Don't worry, this is normal. Like I always talk about, the game is still in its alpha. Upon full release, we will lose this build. McFeeds, we saw that.
Oh man! All right. One deduction on the Bard play for that magical journey.
That freezes perfect, just so we can watch that magical journey just a little bit longer. Just stare at that positioning. But it is interesting. Elysium, they're not even going to contest this. It looks like they're just going to give it up to XG.
Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of see they have not. Chaser was low on mana at that point, and Senna kind of needs mana to be impactful in early game team fights compared to like later game where you can kind of just auto your way through it and not really worry about mana costs. But not having mana at that point, kind of just need the recall, and the positioning was better for XG, and their ultimates were coming off cooldown sooner. We see now that the ultimate is back from Cocoa Puffs, and basically every ultimate is back off cooldown right now, but I think it is okay for Elysium to concede that dragon at this point. They already picked up the first one. It's just the first one picked up for XG, and it's Chemtech. It's not the most impactful one, and it is impactful for the Mundo, but it is not the Chemtech Soul, so not really threatened to buy that at this point, and it is going to be a Mountain Soul here in game number 2.
Yeah, and the Mountain Soul is very interesting. When you have a Mundo, when you have an Ornn, there's going to be a ton of value for it, but we were talking about the percent HP damage coming out of Senna, maybe not being able to deal with the Mundo. You have an Ornn, and Ornn does a lot of percent HP damage. And I should mention for anyone that doesn't know, Senna's passive also does percent damage if you're able to get both. But right now, it looks like the Herald fight is going to be coming out. Nature's Grasp already used by Cocoa Puffs. Gonna get blocked, but they're still going to take the Rift Herald. And they're even going to be able to block the Ornn Horde, but McFeed's just kind of walking into the side of Elysium. Will be going down, so Storm will get 1 kill, but that's still the Herald going over to XG.
Yeah, I mean, McFeed had the nice Tempered Fate to stall the Rift Herald so his team could get over there and secure it, and then hits a nice Q to stun Storm so he can't get that R2 to get a big multi-man knockup, and then kind of just auto-paths into the middle of the rest of the team and ends up falling down for it. But now there could be a play up in the top lane. We see Unknown Lag is looking for something, but if nothing comes, he's going to have to go back to that mid lane to clear out that wave and defend that turret, as first turret is still up for the grab for both sides. But because the first 3 kills went to Elysium and the first 3 objectives to the side of XG, it is going to come down to first brick here for the full feats of warfare in game number 2.
Yeah, and a lot of them are quite low. I mean, the top lane tower for Elysium barely has any HP left at all. If they leave it open, Spoobert can even maybe backdoor it with that Demolish. So it's going to be something they definitely need to keep care about if they do care about the feats. Now, a lot of teams are willing to sacrifice it just for tempo, depending on the situation, as McFeeds takes a lot of damage. Chaser's really strong already. As now a trade happening over in the mid lane. Storm looking for Spoobert, but they're not going to overcommit here. Spoobert still has a lot of HP, still has the ultimate available, so not going to be an easy kill yet.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where Senna starts really being in factor. I'm curious what our Senna stacks are at this current point, if we can get an update on that one. But looking at this, we're at 46 stacks, so kind of slowing down in the stack department.
But Shockwave going to get used on Unknown Lag. Spirit Rush going to get used as well. So they are just going to be able to back away, but Unknown Lag going to be really low after that trade.
Yeah, and also a big shout out to Titan Esports. See you guys in Twitch chat with the raid of 30. Thank you guys for that one. But Senna kind of slowing down on the stack farming compared to where we last
Storm
saw.
and Spoober trading. They're both really low. Call the Forge God gonna come in. Same with the ultimate coming out of Spoober. And will get the brittle proc, but not going to be able to proc it this second time around. So Spoober kind of being ahead on this trade, but it's still so close between these two tanks.
Yeah,
Oh, but Nature's Grasp now going to be coming out from Cocoa Puffs or Nah. Will have the Bellows Breath, will be able to buffer part of it, but Cocoa Puffs or Nah still coming in with the last hit. And that should also be first turn and feats going the way of XG.
Yeah, because Naysayers TP to bottom lane to stop Unknown Lag, and they're able to punish Storm in the mid lane and get that kill. Spoober able to pick up first turret for his team and claim the feats of warfare for the side of XG. Gorilla, Gorilla, Gorilla. Don't get it confused. It's not Gorilla, 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 Gorilla. It's only 3 gorillas.
Yeah, unless the G does stand for Gorilla. We don't know.
Yeah.
They've never told us.
Improvise. Send me a DM and tell me if it stands for Extreme Gorilla, so they could be Extreme Gorilla, 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 Gorilla.
I mean, I assume that the X stands for xylophone. That's the only word I know that starts with X. Is on a leg. Could be getting jumped upon. So has one charge of Spirit Rush, but Cataclysm is being held for now, but they're not going to be able to follow it yet. Spoobert, in the meanwhile, is going to get a second turn of the top lane. So looks like the point was moot. The first turn was always going to go the way of Mundo. And that is kind of why you do pick the champion. But at the very least, this time around, it will be traded for the tier 1 of the bot lane.
Yeah, and then just back to our point of the actual team name. It could be X-Ray. X-Ray Gorilla.
Oh, true.
That's another word that starts with X. Xenophobe? No, is that X?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Could be that. Could be that. Okay. But
It's Exalted.
Yeah, no, it's not.
That starts with an E.
Yeah, I've determined it is now Xylophone. It is Xylophone Gaming. But now Dragon is actually being started up to get back us into topic of League of Legends. Dragon started up here by the side of Elysium. McFeeds could look for another Tempered Fate to stall this one out. And they're
TP's coming out of Spoobert already. 4k HP. This has to come for the trade. And Tempered Fate splitting it up, but Queen Sticks is still available. Smite could come out from either side. Dawning Shadow over top. They're still looking for it, but it is going to go the way of Cocoa Buster now. And now Call of the Forge God does that under 3, but they just don't have anyone dealing damage in the middle of it. So now Unknown Leg gonna run down. Naysayer has 2 charges left, and Storm in the middle of the entire team gonna get charmed up. 1 more charge from Unknown Leg will get the kill, and it's a 2-for-0 and the Dragon and probably the bot tier 1 going the way of XG.
Yeah, and that was another nice Tempered Fate there at McFeeds. Yes, it didn't hit on the Dragon, but it hit on the Naysayer and EXE, 2 big factors that could happen in a team fight to be able to turn it in your favor. And Cocoa Puffs with a nice smite secure, and with the Herald and Toad, they're going to even break more turrets on this map, bringing 2 up in the bottom lane. The side... When did they get the top tier 2 outer? I did not realize that was also picked up by the side of XG, but they are looking much better in this game number 2 compared to how they looked in game number 1. Curious to see if they're able to hold on to this. They're about 5k gold up. Otacon is now on the rift. We see pings coming out of it for Elysium, knowing that is going to be the next focus of this game for both sides.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what the big change was. I think Unknown Lag has definitely had a much better game this time around. Cocoa Buster Nad just made sure that Unknown Lag had a really good start on this Ari. And to the credit, Unknown Lag has been able to balloon that lead into so much more. And then maybe being less on the DPS in the jungle, Cocoa Buster Nad now being kind of on that tank, that playmaker, has definitely seemed to be helping out the team. Now, it is already a 4k gold lead, 4.5k gold lead going towards XG after that series of plays. So they have the first major gold lead of this entire game, but they're still the Senna, they're still the Orange, so this could turn around at any moment.
Yeah, I think the big factor in this game number 2 is that one, Queen Sticks isn't on one of these AP scaling mages. Not saying that she's playing the Jarvan poorly, it is just not typically the style I've seen Elysium Luna go for. And then the other big factor is they did not gank Spoober 20 times to give him 7 deaths and not be a factor in this game.
But they're still going to be fighting maximum dosage and Call of the Forge God used, but Spoober trying to heal it up, able to DPS quite a bit back, but just a little bit more damage. Dawning Shadow still not enough. Man, if Dawning Shadow ever gets damage instead of just being a visual effect, it'd be such a cool ability.
Yeah, no, let's not do that, Riot Games. It already heals, it does do damage, and it is a cool visual effect. It doesn't need more anything else. What else do you need to give it? An Execute? What is this, 2025 League of Legends where every champion has one? No, she came out in 2023. Come on.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Santa not going to be able to get that. Only has infinite range. The technology just isn't there. And Spoopert just in this split push, and the Mundo is now fully online, able to just heal right back up to full after that incredibly close trade, and didn't even have to burn any summoners. Ghost was not used. TP is still available, and Storm just kind of forced to try and deal with this, but I don't think Storm can anymore. And now Spoopert trying to run down. No more mana left on the Soren, and in the meanwhile, in the top lane, they're looking for the Otacon. Nature's Grasp is going to be their flag drag over top, and they're going to be able to take down the jungler. Cocoa Buster now, no more smite, so that is going to get stolen. A bit of extra damage going the way of Elysium, and now Chaser will get hit by the Tempered Fate, will get hit by the follow-up Charm, so that is going to be another kill going over to Unknown Leg. But EXE is still alive, but it doesn't matter. Naysayer will go down, and now Spoopert gets the tier 3 and the inhibitor in the bot lane during all of that, just keeping Storm away from the team fight. Call of the Forge God is their main engage. It's such a powerful team fight ability, and they just can't use it.
Yeah, so Otacon was secured by Elysium. They were able to burst down Cocoa Puffs or nah. McFeeds on the Summoner Spellbook went for the Exhaust and not for the Smite to try to help secure that one, and then also held onto the Tempered Fate for maybe a little bit too long. Probably could have used it a little bit earlier, or they could have, instead of trying to coin flip it, maybe looked for the turn onto Queen Styx and Naysayer. They got a nice combo of the Cataclysm Shockwave, a tale as old as time, able to make that one work and absolutely blow Cocoa Puffs or not off of the map, and able to secure the Otacon for their team. But in the meantime, Spoopert down in that bot lane, up 2,000 gold, able to pick up another turret for himself, an inhibitor for himself, and that is going to be pressure in the bot lane, pushing out with those super minions when Baron does spawn on the rift. So Spoopert not even gonna have to split push down there, can be with the team for that fight.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, the Mundo, it's going to be so hard to deal with. They don't really have anyone that just is naturally good into those high HP tanks. And I think it does have to be a team fight. That's the only way Elysium can kind of bring it back. And since Spoopert is grouping in with the rest of the team, it is doable. But Queen Styx taking so much damage for the poke. Unknown Lag just has so much damage. The Rockets coming out of Princess, as now they're going to jump and just take down EXE. Unknown Lag will get rooted up and still has 2 charges on that Spirit Brush. Will take a little bit of poke from the command dissonance from Naysayer. But I mean, it's just going to be a clean pickoff for XG, and that should be a clean dragon. And the bot lane is still pushing, by the way. There are super minions just going into their base, and there's really not much Elysium can do about it right now.
Yeah, Unknown Lag with a nice pick off there onto EXE. Just waited for the opportunity to use that Spirit Rush and immediately blow up that Milio. Hit the Charm. If Milio is the one who is CC'd, he cannot use Breath of Life. That's why a lot of times you see the Milio go for the Mikhails to cleanse yourself, not your teammates, so you then can cleanse them with the Breath of Life in big team fights. But not having that available to him is just immediately bursted down by the side of Unknown Lag. Dragon number 3 picked up for the side of XG. Gorilla starting to get towards that soul, and now pings coming onto the Baron from them, looking to take that and looking to start to put an end to this game number 2.
Yeah, and the Baron, it could also be where the flip happens. Now, because I got the Otacon, but never mind, Unknown Lag is in the backline. Nature's Grasp coming through as well, and Unknown Lag gonna be able to find Chaser right away. Breath of Life gonna get used immediately, and Cataclysm over top, but Dawning Shadow just not gonna be there in time. Call of the Forge God shows up, but it's a little bit too little, it's a little bit too late. They're able to get the Shockwave, but the damage just is no longer there. Elysium, they lose 2, and right now it looks like XG just gonna run straight for the Baron.
Yeah, and it should just be, there's the claim. There has to come a recall out to save the base from those super minions, which means the side of Elysium not going to be contesting this Baron. It was a nice pick by the side of XG, getting the ultimate out of the Maokai, and then Unknown Lag on the flank, able to get a big amount of damage and huge impact in that team fight. The Breath of Life came out from EXE to stop from the Maokai ultimate, but it wasn't there for the Ahri Charm and the burst. And I know a lot of people do not like the Ahri build of the Malignant and Horizon Focus. I am not one of them, but you have the Death Cap, and Unknown Lag has been playing well in this game, and it doesn't feel like he's falling out the damage department and still being a big factor in this game.
Yeah, I mean, when you're 6-1-4, you can build anything and still be pretty strong as long as it has AP in it. And I think that's exactly what's happening with Unknown Lag right now. Also, level 16, so has the max level ultimate available. But looking over at the rest of the items, Chaser now has Really only 2 items. Once that Infinity Edge completes, that will be a pretty significant bump in DPS that Senna can bring out. But I mean, we're just seeing it. They just don't have the damage to do these fights right now.
Yeah, it is really difficult for them to get the fights off the way they want to, compared to the side of XG that just has, it seems like the better engage options in this one, the way they have been playing this out. While I feel like the engages, even on both footings, is just the gold lead that is being the big factor in this one for XG. They're just kind of beating them with their wallets, and now we're seeing the multi-lane shove coming out from both sides. Don't have to worry about bot lane. It's got the super minion. It's going to push itself. So you put Spoobit in top lane, the rest of the team in mid lane as you look to crack open this space.
Yeah, but the charm is going to come through. Same with the Spirit Rush, and immediately Storm just going to get bursted down. And this is your frontliner. Nature's Grasp is going to get used to keep Spoobit alive. And as the bot lane inhib spawns, the top lane gets taken down. And now they're just going to look to at least get the triple inhib here. They have the top, they have the mid, looking towards the bot lane. They already have a super in the bot lane as well. So this could even be a potential angle for XG to end. Without Call of the Forge God, they just have no way of starting these fights on the side of Elysium. They have the Cataclysm and they have the Shockwave over top, but the damage just isn't there. McFeed's still alive, and Tempered Fate slowing down the rest of the follow-up as Spoobert just going to take the Nexus. And just like that, we are going to be going to a game number 3. XG able to bring this series right back.
Yeah, XG looked solid in this game number 2, able to bring it back after a pretty rough game number 1. The side of Elysium just not able to handle it in game number 2. And they had their moments. They looked good at some points in this game, similar to XG in game number 1, but both teams just looking more dominant in each game that they have won. It's going to be a great game number 3. I'm hoping for a little bit more contention, a little bit more, stakes, some more coin flips, some more fun. But I mean, both these teams have their moments, have looked good in both series, so it's hard to determine who's going to win game number 3.
Yeah, and I think a big part's just going to come down to the draft. But either way, these are the 2 teams that are the top of their respective groups. And they're just trying to show which group is the stronger one. But we'll find out once we come back, once we get that game 3. But for now, we're going to go to a short break. And then we get to see the final deciding match between these 2 teams. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. All right, and we are here with the third and final deciding match between Elysium Luna and XG Gorilla. And like we see here, they have swapped sides. So what do you think that's really going to end up changing, John?
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how draft plays out now because the Jarvan isn't available for Cocoa Puffs or not anymore. I think bans are relatively going to stay the same. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Nunu ban, like I was going to mention, being hovered here by the side of XG Gorilla. I think first pick might be like a Jinx angle if they want to go for that, or maybe even the Nocturne for Cocoa Puffs that was banned in phase 2 of the last game. But definitely going to be interesting to see how drafts build out now that everything is different. I'm sidewise, ban staying the same. You don't want Chaser on Sivir. He is a Sivir main. He is very good at this champion, so I'm not surprised to see that constantly being banned out here in game number 3 and throughout the entire series. Volibear banned away again, and I did mention the Jinx. So now the Gragas is the champion that is open, so maybe that is the first pick here for the side of Xylophone Gaming Gorilla.
Yeah, maybe. But it's pretty interesting because every single time there seems to be just that one ban that gets excluded, and both sides just kind of build around that. So I'm wondering if this was something intentional, if they're ready for the Gragas, and if they have something prepared for it on the side of Elysium Luna. I mean, what do you think would be good into the Gragas?
It's really hard to tell because Gragas does kind of just innately win a lot of matchups thanks to the interaction with that body slam, where it kind of just beats out all other CC abilities. I've seen a lot of times people just like go for like safety picks into it, like Scion. You could go like maybe Camille into it, but it's really hard to think what beats Gragas. I've seen Gnar into it occasionally as well, but you still like have the potential to get one shot as Gnar against the enemy Gragas. So it's a really hard skill matchup in the top lane, especially going up against a skilled Gragas player like Spoobert is.
Yeah, but in the meanwhile, we are going to have the Xin Zhao locked in for Elysium Luna. Another one of those playmaking junglers. Not too dissimilar from the J4 in terms of playstyle, but definitely has a little bit less crowd control, but also has a little bit more damage. And Karma going to be the second pick, so maybe an Ezreal going to be coming out soon.
Yeah, the Karma is interesting because I'm curious where it's actually going. Maybe it's in mid lane for Naysayer. Maybe it's even top lane for Storm. Maybe we're going back to days of old where it's top lane Karma, but Karma just pairs very well with Xin Zhao. He wants to go forward. He wants to be skirmishing. He wants to be fighting all the time. Karma with the shield helps that out so much for him. But now XG is going to just pick the Ezreal away in case that was the potential that Elysium Luna was looking for. So no Karma Ezreal for them. Strong Ezreal pairings in the bot lane. You can still go like Braum. It's more of a safety lane. You can go Nami, who does empower him with those abilities, but you could also just go for engage. You can just go Alistair, you can just go Leona if you want to go for that angle. It's just really up to what McFeeds wants to play, but it looks like Syndra gonna be the pick here for Unknown Lag, and Naysayer finally gonna get his hand at a counter pick.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be an interesting part of the draft because on one hand, they probably do want to pick an AD carry that goes well with Karma before the 2 bans come through. But same with their mid lanes, and there's going to be 2 full bans coming out right after this pick, but they are going to like to just take the Kai'Sa. And again, assuming this is Karma Kai'Sa in the bot lane, Kai'Sa does pretty well into Ezreal. As long as you're able to land 1 stack of Plasma, you can just dive onto the Ezreal. They cannot get away from you, even with the Arcane Shift. So, gonna be interesting to see, but Malphite, first ban coming out of Elysium Luna, definitely not a common ban, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm curious if they think this could be Gragas jungle, because Cocoa Puffs also does play Gragas. Looking at his solo queue, he's played 19 games of the season, 63% win rate with a 4.0 KDA. So it's like, it's not like he doesn't play it, but when I think of this team, when I think of Gragas, I think of Spoobert in the Emerald scene. But Kai'Sa is the AD carry that's picked a lot into Ezreal. A lot of AD carries like this matchup specifically because you can still get on top of him when he does Arcane Shift away, thanks to the ultimate of Kai'Sa just being able to have that sticking power. But Braum being banned away from McFeeds and then choosing to ban away the Nautilus themselves. And it looks like Leona is going to be the pick. So this could be Karma mid, it could be Karma top here, as Leona locked in for the side of Elysium Luna to pair with that Kai'Sa. Strong 2v2 power down there.
Yeah, very interesting. And now I'm wondering if maybe this Karma was the mid lane pick from the start. I mean, it does seem like actually Gorilla, they're going to ban out the Nautilus, right? So they had a feeling that this Karma was going to be going to solo lane anyway. Now, Alistair is being hovered right now, is very good until Leona can kind of keep the Kai'Sa away. But this is going to be very interesting team composition coming out of Elysium Luna. And honestly, I'm not even sure what to think about it.
Yeah, it's just really what the question is of what is the jungler slash top laner. If this Gragas actually is a flex pick, if it actually is going into the jungle for Cocoa Puffs or not, what is going to be the top lane pick here for Spoober? He still does have Urgot in his champion pool. I've seen him play Singed before, but I don't think he's going to be pulling that champion out. But for Cocoa Puffs, it's gonna be the Nefiri potentially if they are choosing to lock this one in. He was spamming this champion in solo queue when it was at its peak of power, so he does have experience on this champion, and it was banned away from him in the last game specifically. But now the question is, what is the answer into Gragas? Is this Karma mid lane into Syndra? Is this Karma top lane into Gragas? Or is there a counter pick that Naysayer truly wants into the Syndra? Or is there an answer to this Gragas?
Yeah, and I feel like the way the drafts have been going on, I mean, I don't know your opinion here, but I feel like there's really no way to fix this draft. They are going to lock in the Camille into the top lane, which I believe that the Body Slam still ends up winning out into the Camille E. So I think it's going to be a very tough lane in the top side. I think the rest of the four core still also goes Gorilla. Now, I know I'm not the analyst, but I'm wondering if I'm kind of speaking for you here, because I feel like this is going to be a very difficult draft to play for Elysium.
Yeah, so looking at specifically the top lane matchup of Camille Gragas, from what I'm seeing solo queue wise around this rank, it's about a 50-50 matchup. Gragas Body Slam does beat out the Camille hook shot. Gragas Body Slam, I think I don't even know what it loses to. I think there's like two abilities in the game with frames better than the Body Slam, so it would be better than that. I think it's like the set Unstoppable, obviously, or sorry, the set Ultimate obviously beats like everything that is unstoppable in the game, but I don't think there's much else outside of that. But looking at the Elysium Luna comp, they are just playing full dive in this game, with Karma being the facilitator to what everybody wants to do, while XG Gorilla can just play back with their comp. Yes, they have the Nefiri that wants to go in. Gragas kind of wants to go in, so does Alistair, but Alistair and Gragas can just play as peel bots. They can just sit back and hold all their abilities to peel when the dive does come in from the Kai'Sa, from the Zinzao, from the Camille. And Gragas ultimate, that explosive cast, is so good into the ultimate that Camille has. You just immediately knock her out of the ring, the likes of when Kindred was so big in ranked, in solo queue, in professional play. Gragas just picked into it to knock her out of that ultimate as well. And Alistair, yeah, everybody thinks of Alistair as an engage support. He is as good at peel as he is as engage as well. So they have a lot of options here on XG to keep this Syndra and this Ezreal safe, and even in the Fury.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of carry potential on the side of XG, Gorilla. But with that, we do have both these two drafts. We have everything set up for this third and final game. And before we go to our final draft break, do you have anything you want to say, Sean? Because it seems like you do.
Yeah, I was thinking you were going to ask me which draft I favorite in this game.
Oh,
and
I thought you would go through that.
I mean, yeah, I think it is just XG. I think Elysium does have the angles to make this draft work. They have the kill potential, the one-shot potential. I mean, Camille has that mini Cho'Gath ult on the queue. She could always just one-shot anybody, but it's gonna be an interesting game, and I'm just curious to see how this Nefiri works in the draft. That's like the biggest question mark on the XG draft that I have in this game number 3.
Yeah, and we'll see exactly how the Nefiri does end up getting played. But with that, let's go to a break, and when we come back, it's going to be the third and final deciding game to see which group is stronger. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. All right, welcome back, everyone, and we are here with the third and final game of the series between XG Gorilla, and Elysium. And just looking over the stars, it seems like both sides now playing a little bit more passive. Just going to be that 5-point defensive setup from both these two teams before we go in. But pretty interesting start right now, I'd say, coming out from both these sides.
Yeah, I mean, don't let the portraits on the sides confuse you. Everybody's playing the correct roles. They're just not in the correct order for some reason. I'm curious if they just load into lobby incorrectly just to get the game over with. But just looking at everything, it's pretty stock standard summoner spells and rune wise. Storm not taking a flash this game. He is going for that ignite up in the top lane, which you do see a lot out of Camille because you do have that hook shot to keep you safe as well. But Cocoa Puffs not starting with a pot this game, similar to Queen Sticks back in game number 2 on this Neferi. Has a pretty healthy clear because your dogs do tank a lot of the jungle camps for you as well. But overall, everything standard. Teams just playing a little bit cautious here in game number 3, wanting to win the series as a whole and not make a mistake to cost you the game.
Yeah, and I think that's really the main part to look at. A lot of the time, different teams just react differently to these game threes, to these final games of the series. Some end up playing a lot more aggressive, some end up playing a lot more passive. So, going to be interesting to see which style these two teams do bring out, because I believe when we casted both of these two teams in the past, it has been a 2-0 every single time. No teams have really been able to stand up to them too much this season. So, Going to be very fun to see exactly who's going to be able to come out in this more of a pressured situation.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could have been here to cast those 2 games with you, but that was the GOAT
Oof.
DBZ freak subbing in for me for the first 2 weeks. But the level 2 hit by the Elysium bottom lane, EXE looked for that Zenith Blade, was not able to connect onto McFeeds, which could have been dangerous. He probably would have been pulled under the turret and got knocked up from that pulverize there out of McFeeds' Alistair. Would have been a little bit difficult, but Spoobert and Storm just trading up in the top lane. Man, these guys just love trading HP bars. You see that every single game in this series. There is no relenting in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember which pro said this, but in an interview, one of the coaches was asking the top laner, why did you just randomly start auto-attacking him? And he said, because he auto-attacked me first, so if he hits me, I have to hit him back. And that's just top in a nutshell, but right now, Unknown Lag gonna be getting ganked upon, will get knocked up by the 3 Talon Strike, and that's just gonna be a quick first blood. Going over to Queen Styx on Elysium. No flash was burned, though, so they will still have that available for next time.
Yeah, really smart play there by Naysayer and Queen Styx to get Unknown Lag when they were at a vulnerable spot in that lane. A nice 3 camp gank by the Elysium jungler there. Now Spoobert dodges out of the hook shot from Storm, but still takes a lot of damage on the back end.
Yeah, but the minions are going to trade it back a little bit in favor of Spoobert, but the mana bar, I think that's going to be the main issue, and Spoobert will be forced to recall because of that. So Storm actually doing pretty well so far. It's a level down, but I think there's a pretty big wave pushing into Storm, so that's probably the reason. And will ding level 4 now. But Princess May and McFees, they're also going to have a slight push, but everything's seeming pretty close in the game right now. Obviously, Queen Styx had the kill, but the CS advantage is still in favor of Cocoa Puffs for now, just because during the gank, Cocoa Puffs was still farming.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what Nefiri looks to do in the early games. Like, there is the gank potential to come out from it, but Nefiri kind of does want that level 6 for those ganks to be a surefire thing as well. But overall, the game is going exactly how both teams would want. I assume, obviously, actually would prefer not to have that kill go over to Queen Styx on the Xin Zhao, because Xin Zhao is a very good champ at snowballing the game with how much they do like to fight and how much their damage potential is. But now we see Cocoa Puffs or not sneaking into this bottom lane brush, could look for a potential lane gank as this wave does push back out into.
Yeah, now the Zenith Blade is going to be coming out of EXE. Will just flash immediately upon seeing Cocoa Puffs for now. Really threatened by this, but now Storm could look to all in Spoobert. Spoobert is completely out of mana, but will have just enough to get that Drunken Rage out. So Storm not going to be full committing.
Oh, no,
And
Queen Styx is down here in the bot lane.
yeah, going to be looking for that angle. McFeeds and Princess May already going to be using that Arcane Shift, but Queen Styx gets hit underneath the turret. So McFeed's going to be able to get that kill going over towards XG. And now Princess May even able to get a little bit of damage on Eli Chaser on the way out.
Yeah, what a smart play there by McFeeds to headbutt Queen Styx back onto the turret to get the pulverize. Obviously, you probably wanted to give that kill to Cocoa Puffs or not, or to Princess May as well, but McFeeds says, nah. I set it up. I'm going to finish the play. Alley-oops it to himself to pick up the kill onto the enemy jungler and get XG their first kill of the game. But that was a nice play there by the XG bottom lane to outplay that one. And they also burned the flash on EXE, so a little bit less of that potential coming out from the Leona engage without having that summoner spell, because Cocoa Puffs was in the bot lane when they went for the air engage.
Yeah, but that is going to be the dragon going down in favor of XG in the bot lane. It is going to be just the Chemtech, so not going to help too much. It'll help Spoobert a bit. Decent amount of healing within Gragas' kit just from that happy hour passive. And actually McFeeds as well going to get some use out of it. So I guess overall there is a decent amount of healing onto XG, but just one dragon still doesn't make a ton of difference for that.
Yeah, and Nefiri is also going to get factors from that as well. Has some good healing in her kit of her own, but overall, it's some big CS leads already growing in the bot lane and in the mid lane. Mid lane now picked back up because Unknown Lag did pick up the wave that was pushing into him, and I assume the bot lane one is going to be thinned out now that Princess Bay is back in the bot lane and is going to be able to start farming these waves again. But overall, it is a close game here. Spoobert and Storm trading back and forth once again.
Yeah, and Spoobert is starting to get a little bit low on health and mana, and Storm does have the Ignite and does have the Hextech Ultimatum available. And in fact, Hextech Ultimatum going to be coming through immediately, but Explosive Cast not able to land, so Hookshot going to get Spoobert in a really dangerous spot. Will get slowed down, and one more auto from Storm should do it, but the Explosive Cast, or sorry, but the barrel roll is going to be able to provide the space. Storm needs to get it, but the move speed just is not there. Spoobert will be able to get out to safety, but it's still really low, but should be safe underneath that turret to catch this last wave.
Yeah, so the explosive cask didn't hit Storm out of that Hextech ultimatum, but it hit him far enough away for Spoobert not to go down there. Oh, Storm DC'd again.
Yep, as it usually goes. It looks like immediately we're going to move to the reconnection, so it does seem like Storm reconnected. I'm not sure what that was going on in chat there. I'm pretty sure
I
that
think
is
they're
just...
memeing at each other.
Well, I just mean how fast all those messages appeared at the same time. So I'm pretty sure that is just kind of one of those bugs. So I believe it does mean that Storm does end up reconnecting. So we at least don't have to worry about that. It did disconnect over in game number 2 as well. But hopefully we'll be back into this game shortly. But just for the moment, you're talking about those leads. And one lead that I am kind of looking at right now is Naysayer in the mid lane. Now, Karma typically does win out pretty hard in the lane, but the Syndra, the late game potential to just absolutely delete someone on the side of Elysium, that's always going to be a threat. So, going to be a little bit scary. And considering Unknown Lag did go down once, this yes lead really isn't all that high.
Yeah, and us seeing that all chat, I was curious if Naysayer was gonna get hit by that Q because he said he was gonna flash it and he was gonna dodge it, but he did get hit by it, but he had a shield, so it did not matter. Naysayer, man, not following up, not a man of his word, not flashing the Ezreal Q at 7.5 minutes in the game.
I mean, if you tank just one Mystic shot, you may as well just FF the game. I'd start running it down mid. I don't care who my teammates are.
Yeah, maybe
But...
Naysayer will DC now and not come back.
Yeah, maybe. But again, this is just the usual post-pause bug. We should be getting back to normal shortly, and we do basically right as I mentioned that. So interesting lane swap already. It looks like Elysium, they do want to go for the grub play early on, as Spoobert is still going to go immediately to the top lane upon that recall. So this should go the way of Elysium, but I'm wondering if they're going to be able to get some kind of play on the bot side for XG.
I thought they were looking for a pick onto Cocoa Puffs or not, as they are invading his blue side jungle. We see Spoobert is the one to actually catch this one out, and they're looking to make a play on it. TP back into the mid lane for Unknown Lag. It is just trying to get any sort of lead to get ready for these grubs that are on the Rift now, as we see Queen Styx has started them up, as Unknown Lag is in the mid lane against Chaser and EXE, while the bot lane for XG is still down in the bot lane.
Yeah, but that was a plate going over to Princess May and McFeed, so they're going to be a little bit of gold going over to that Ezreal, as now the grubs do get started up by Elysium. So that should just be theirs. I don't think there's going to be any contest coming out from XG. So it is going to be the 1-for-1 trade in terms of objectives so far, at least in terms of getting those feats. And this might have been the slowest start to a game we've had so far. Only 2 kills at 9 minutes. As a potential dive coming through, McFeed's looking for the headbutt pulverize, but will just get flashed away by Naysayer. Luckily holding that instead of using it on the on the Q coming out from
the
Princess May.
Ezreal Q, yeah. But now Queen Styx actually could be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, when it becomes Lightning doing a lot of damage, it's going to try to build some space, and Eli Chaser coming in through the backline. Now Explosive Cask actually dealing a lot of damage to Queen Styx, and then meanwhile Storm going to be able to secure that kill. And actually Spoobert taking the bad end of that trade will get Queen Styx back in return, but that's still going to be a 2-for-1 favoring Elysium, and that's also going to be the feats of warfare completed for them. So going to be in a very solid spot after that.
Yeah, but now May just gets free time down in the spot lane.
And now another Zenith coming through, looking for Unknown Lag, but the flash is just going to get them back to safety.
Yeah, and now May is just free hitting down in the spot lane on this turn. Nobody coming to answer them yet. Cocoa Puffs or not, thought they had the play there with Spoobert, but the damage out of Queen Styx at this point in the game was way too high and went down way quicker than they expected. Spoobert was able to get a kill back for themselves, but Naysayer with the TP in and the roam over able to pick up the kill on Spoobert on the back end of it, as Spoobert and Storm once again just scrapping it up here in the top lane. And Storm doing a pretty good job every time we pan up for these trades. He's hitting those W's at the maximum range to be able to get the healing back and the bonus damage from that as well. But Spoobert just going to be fine in this lane. I assume he's going to be going for that Roa Cosmic Drive build that we've been seeing a lot, but probably not. I just realized he does have that tier in the build, so it's probably just going to be the Roa into the Winter's Approach slash Thimble Winter in this game for him being more of a frontliner for the team.
Yeah, but now take a look over at the gold graph, and it looks like Queen 6 is going to be up by 200 gold over in the jungle, and everything else is quite close to the hook
buffer.
shot from Storm. Not going to be able to really accomplish too much. Hexac Ultimatum not going to get used, but I thought that was going to come through immediately after that body slam. I think Spoober could have been in a very bad spot if Storm committed there.
Yeah, it's getting risky up in this top lane. Storm is getting to the point where he's starting to do a lot of damage, but Spoobert has the sustainability of this Gragas. I mean, Camille can sustain as well as long as you're hitting those W's in those sweet spots, but Cookbuzz or not is sitting in this bot lane thinking he has a gank, but doesn't know he's sitting on vision right now.
Yeah, and Queen 6 is kind of hovering nearby, so is Naysayer, so they could just try to bait out this engage. It would be a 4-on-4, but now the Hextech Ultimatum is going to get used into the top side, and both are starting to get low. Ignite already going to come out of Storm, and who's going to be the first to go back in? The hook shot from Storm just needs one more auto, and just like last time, still isn't able to get it. The happy hour is not going to come through, and the flash body slam, and Spoobert going to be able to get that outplay in the top lane. But meanwhile, in the bot lane, Elysium, they're going to pull this dragon already at half HP. A little bit of poke is coming out of Princess May. True Shot Barrage is available if they want to just throw that out for this team fight. But now both dragons are in the area, and instead they're jumping onto Coco Buster now. Will be able to dodge it out. And now Queen 6 just jumping on to make feeds, but the Unbreakable is going to be there, and it will go the way of Elysium, but they are going to be losing out on the trades. It is going to be 1-0 so far. Naysayer going to be the next targeted down. Scatter the Weak got to find its way. Naysayer still able to survive at just around 400 HP. Both very low, but so is Princess May. One more auto, and Chase are going to be able to get that kill. As now Storm TPing into this fight. Mixed Fees with a Pulverize finds its way onto 2. As Naysayer getting jumped by Cocoa Puffs or not, and will go down. But now Cocoa Puffs going to get traded back, and Chaser with the double kill, just being the absolute winner of that whole exchange.
Yeah, maybe if Unknown Lag had their ultimate there, had that unleashed power, would have been able to pick up the kill onto Naysayer or onto Chaser, who were both super low in that play, but just not able to get that final bit of damage through. A nice use of the barrier out of Chaser to keep themselves healthy enough to be able to continue to go for that play. And Storm dying in that top lane had TP, so was able to TP into that later half of that team fight to make the impact for it. But in the meantime, Spoobert just picking up more gold up in the top lane, picking up more plates for himself, trying to be a factor on this Gragas once those team fights that he's involved with do start to break out. It was a close dragon flip. I think it was at like 200 HP before it was picked up by Queen 6 on the side of Elysium. Could have gone either way. Maybe if more poke was landing for XG, it would have been a much better fight for them. But overall, both teams playing it very well in that fight, and just Elysium was the better one on the day to be able to pick up more kills to Dragon as well to go with it.
Yeah, and those kinds of fights always going to be benefiting the Kaisa as well. Just the longer the fights go, the more cooldowns can be used. The Acathian Rain deals so much damage, same with the stacks, but now Chase are going to be the main target looking to get burnt down, and EXE's just going to run away, let Cocoa Puffs with the Hound's Pursuit get the kill. And now Lunar Flare even going to get used to prevent EXE from following in Chaser's footsteps there. So it is going to be a shutdown going over to Cocoa Puffs or Naz. Cocoa Puffs still looking to continue, but it doesn't seem like the play is going to be possible. Queen 6 is in the area, and McFeeds is here, so they could just try to fight this out. 2 versus 2. Unknown Lag also in the area, so 3v2. So this Gromp is also going to get stolen away, and XG just kind of winning out on the bot side completely.
Yeah, and Spoober has done a lot of damage to this top turret as well. Could be looking for that one. And they would help his team a lot. They would
but
need...
Storm going to get hit back with the explosive cast. Starting to get pretty low. And Spoobert with another solo kill. We saw the gold coming in from those plates, and now Spoobert putting it to use.
Yeah, so Spoober is also going to be able to pick up this turret up in the top lane for himself, which is going to be huge for the side of XG towards those boot upgrades. They would just need to pick up both neutral objectives to be able to get that one, because the first 3 kills did go over to the side of Elysium, and they are 1 neutral objective away, while the side of XG needs to pick up 2 for themselves. We see pings onto the Rift Herald, as that is the next objective. Naysayer are going to get the back recall canceled by Unknown Lag there, with a nice use of the Scatter the Weak to stop that one. Good luck force something if he does want to do so. But the first team to the Rift Herald is going to be Elysium, going to be able to get the first setup on it. But Scuba is there, the big cash flow for the side of XG, this big man with the barrel on the Cosmic Drive now. I guess I was wrong about the build that they're going for. It looks like it is going to be somewhat AP oriented, even with the tier in their inventory.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, if Elysium are able to get that, that is going to be feats completed for them. But XG, they still need 2 of those neutrals. So it is going to be a little bit of a 50-50 flip. Cocoa Puffs are not going to get hit by the Crescent Guard. So now Queen Six just trying to finish this off, and that is going to be the steal. So that's feats going the way of Elysium. As Storm going in, going to get knocked out of the Hextech Ultimatum, and will be the first to go down in the fight. Big Feeds still standing there with the Unbreakable Wills. Cocoa Buster now still chasing on Naysayer. They're going to lose the EXC in the front line. Cocoa Buster now will follow. But now again, Spoobert landing 3 with the flash body slam, and Queen Stick's gonna go down, and it's just Chaser left alive, but it's 4 versus 1, not even gonna be able to trade onto Spoobert, and it's a full ace coming out from Xylophone Gaming.
Yeah, a huge flash 3-man body slam out of Spoobert there to help his team secure that ace. Maybe Cocoa Puffs ran too far away from the Herald. He probably could have tried for the smite flip for that one, but I think the team said it's okay if we lose the Herald because we win the team fight and we already got first turret. So able to make that one work. Cocoa Puffs or not, also tried to get Naysayer in the backside, but the Karma shielding was the big factor to not be able to pick up that kill. But he got the health bars low enough for the rest of the team to follow up on that one. Now EXE trying to set up on Vision here, but McFeeds is there to answer him.
Yeah, and they are going to be able to find EXE. I don't know if they have the damage to finish this off, but Leona starting the fight at half HP, it's going to make things a lot harder, especially because the first move is already there on the side of XG, and they have a massive gold lead. However, Elysium going to be spawning the Herald into the mid lane. It's still pretty healthy, so unless they drive it, they're not going to be able to finish this off, but it will deal a good chunk of damage. It will be there. It will be standing gold once they're able to get priority on the mid lane again, but 4K gold lead, the question is, will they be able to, as EXE still will be able to live, will force the lock it out though. So the Mountain Dragon is available, and I don't see how Elysium can even approach this.
Yeah, and don't worry, the side of XG Gorilla made sure this mid lane River Brush was warded. Double control ward, a single vision ward as well. Now Spoobert is going back in on Storm.
Yeah, this is going to be the big trade, but Storm doesn't even seem to want it, and yet actually playing it quite well so far. But the body slam will be there. Spoobert at half HP, but so Storm Explosive Cast gonna be there. Now the Drunken Rage with the body slam. Spoobert just winning out of those stats, but now Chaser is in the area as well. And if both of them go for it, there is a chance, and will be using that Killer Instinct. One more stack of Plasma needs to come through, but Chaser not able to get the range. And with the body slam and the TP coming through, Hookshot going to interrupt it though. So Shutdown going the way of Storm as they finally take that man at the top side, but they lose 2 turrets on the map for it.
Yeah, I like the idea there by Spoobert to TP on that one, because if the hookshot misses, he just gets to escape because there's no CC. But they're able to get the shutdown. They're going to be able to pick up a top lane turret here for the side of Elysium.
Yeah, as we are getting a little bit of lag here.
Okay. I thought that was me again. I thought I was dying. I thought I was like, is that me? But it looks like we're getting a bit of a bug at this point for some reason, which I'm not too sure about.
Yeah, it looks like it's just in the game itself. Hopefully this isn't the random Doom bug at 1830. Maybe it's just, I think we give it a minute, and then if anything, maybe we try to reconnect. I mean, like I say though, we need to be patient. This game is still in its alpha. Upon full release, Spectator is going to be fully working. It's not going to have bugs. It's not going to randomly crash out of nowhere, but it's kind of annoying that this seems to be happening pretty often at this point.
Yeah, especially like in impactful games that we've seen before. Like it happened to us a couple weeks back in a big game number 2, and now here in game number 3 between the 2 top seeds of their divisions. Kind of feels bad to have this happen, but hopefully it resolves itself. If not, we will probably end up troubleshooting it and try to figure out a way to get us back into this game.
Yeah, but for now, I guess we can just take a quick look over at the state of the game. It's still a 4K gold lead for XG. So they are still in a good spot. It's going to get lowered down to about 3K. when this turret does go down. I believe it's worth around 500. But the lead is definitely going to be there. And Princess May did start out a little bit weaker, especially with Chaser getting that triple kill over in the bot lane fight. But now 2-1-5, item and a half is not really behind anymore. It even has a bounty. So a lot of the carries on the side of XG, they're doing quite well. And I think Spoobert is definitely the one to thank for that.
Yeah,
All right, so it does look like we are gonna try to just reset the game. Probably just gonna exit and come back. I believe we do have ways of trying to get this done, so it's not doom and gloom quite yet. We have a couple things we can try. So do be patient with us as we do continue trying to see what we can do here.
yeah. Yeah, I think we're just gonna head to a short break here as we do get ready to try to get us back into this game number 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly once we do have this resolved.
We did it, chat. We are back into the game, and it looks like a lot has happened. 4 down on the side of Elysium as the Otacon going to get taken by XG. So we do apologize for that, but again, this is a Riot issue, I can assure you. Working with so many different producers, working on so many different leagues, this is the one consistent thing in the game of League of Legends.
Yeah, I can't wait for Riot to finally fix spectator issues. Please, for the love of God, it would make everybody's life much better for communities like this. But regardless, we are back in the game. Otacon was picked up by the side of XG Gorilla, and they are
Third Dragon
looking.
too.
Yeah, they are looking poised in this game number 3 to take the first series off of Elysium Luna and show that their division was the better one all along, getting ready for those playoffs.
Yeah, so the funny thing is that they actually did end up losing in their first cross group game to, I believe, the second place, the team that's behind Elysium. So I think that's still always going to be a conversation. But I mean, we're just going to have to see who's going to be able to come out on top. And we're going to be able to see this in playoffs afterwards, as well as the tiebreaker if XG are able to win the game here.
Yeah, this is definitely still playable for Elysium. They still have the chance to come back into this one. They just need to make this comp work. A Storm is looking to go out on May.
Yeah, they're going to be going in immediately, and already Hextech ultimatum used, but Storm is just alone, but Lunar hit into the backline. Princess May is getting dove by Chaser, but now Chaser going to be getting hounded down, but they're going to take down Unknown Lag first as EXE starting to get low as well, and now Storm going to get finished off in the front line. EXE will follow, and it's already 3 for 1, looking for 4, and it's going to be a triple kill to Princess May as another 4 for 1 play going in favor of XG.
Yeah, a nice TP there by Spoobert to get on the backside to make the play work. Only Unknown Lag ends up going down in the end, and now Spoobert is just going to stop Naysayer from getting a recall, so his team is able to pick up this Baron. He might even get a kill here, but
yeah, looking for it underneath the turret, and Spoober just spacing it perfectly, making sure not to get hit by those mantra Qs. Is going to have the body slam, going to use the combo, and not going to be able to land the Q. Now, the root is going to be there for Naysayer, but Spoober, again, with the body slam, will get the solo kill in the end. So, delayed ace going over to XG, and they get the Baron in return.
yeah, and I mean, I was wrong about Spoobert's build. He has gone for the full AP build. He's got Cosmic Drive, Hextech Proto Belt, and a Seraph's Embrace as well. So just looking to one-shot the side of Elysium Luna whenever he is involved in one of these fights. And I mean, the side of XG, everybody is having a phenomenal game in this one. I mean, Elysium, they're looking for their ways to come back. We saw them try to get that engaged there onto Princess May, but Ezreal is such a slippery AD carry with the flash, with the barrier, and the arcane shift as well, able to live through that entire fight and pick up a triple kill for herself is May on this Ezreal, and it is starting to look like XG is going to be picking up game number 3 here. Elysium, they still have the way to come back. They have the CC combos, they have the chains, they have the dive potential, but it needs to be flawless because of the peel that I talked about in the draft with the XG comp.
Yeah, and I think even if they do that, it'll still be difficult. I mean, Cocoa Puffs are not does have the escape available. The call of the pack just always there for the safety. Unknown Lag is really the only main target they can guaranteed go on. Storm just gonna be forced to use the hook shot to get back to safety. Still takes a decent amount of damage. As Spooper looks to burst onto Chaser, but barely doesn't have enough damage. And Queen Snake's actually going to be going in. And Chaser goes back in, has no HP left. Princess May just going to be picking up that kill. They're going to be taking down Naysayer as well. And EXC going to fall, will flash away to safety for now, but Cocoa Puffs Nas still chasing. McFeeds is going to be there to help. So now they're going to be able to get a decent chunk there. They're going to have the 2 for nothing. They're still full HP, and they still have the Baron buff minions on the way. And honestly, they could look to end. Those are 2 of the carries gone right now for Elysium. They're going to start hitting onto those tier 4s explosive casks. Not going to be able to find the angle they want. And Storm almost in a bad spot, but will be able to buffer it with the hook shot. But now over top, they're still going to be able to take down Storm, the True Shot Barrage, and everything else. XG just throwing everything onto Elysium. They're going to take down the tier 4s, and it looks like this should be it. Just needed to hit the Nexus. Pulverize just peeling for even longer. As XG, they do it. They win 2-1, and with this cross-match group.
Yeah, and I mean, game number 1, Elysium looked so dominant, and it looked like it was going to be hard for XG to come back in this series, but they win dominantly in game number 2. Game number 3 was close for a while, and then once we load back in after a classic Riot bug, it was just XG for that last 5 minutes there in that game, looking absolutely strong, getting ready for these playoffs. And that's not saying that Luna isn't a good team. This is their first series loss of the season. They are still a team that needs to be worried, but XG is just having their number on the night. Shout out Xylophone Gaming Gorilla for picking this one up.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely deserve the win. And like you said, considering this was, I believe, the last game of the regular season before we start doing the qualifiers and all that.
I think this side of the bracket has a bye next week because the other
Okay.
side has more teams, so they have to do like seeding matches and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So with all that being said, Elysium Luna, they did lose, but they tripled their total losses just from one day. That just shows how dominant they've been on their group. They've even been dominant in the cross group. But this time around, XG going to come out on top. And frankly, I think they deserved it. Just looked really strong today, even in their loss.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the playoffs play out here. I wouldn't be surprised to see these two teams meet up again in the finals the way their regular seasons have both gone. But shout out Elysium Luna. They looked like the better team at the start of the day, but XG just able to quad back and be able to get that win. I'm excited to see both these teams in playoffs as they should be favorites for the remainder of the season, despite how today went.
Yeah, and I think that's what everyone's going to be looking forward to. The playoffs are going to be starting decently soon. So we're going to start seeing the top of the packs from every single group, from every division, just dishing it out together to see who is going to end up being the champion for AEL. But with that, we are done for today. My name is Tokubi, joining me once again, Chong, and hope you all have a good night, and we hope to see you again next week.